Welcome everybody to Good Movies Podcast. Uh, it's a we just kind of do random movie talk here and talk about pop culture a little bit and physical media. Joining me as always is Kenny from Kenny's Movie Palace, and we got Katie from Katie's. What's your official channel name? I always forget. I'm sorry. You got a couple of different Instagrams, and I never can remember.
It's I think Katie Warman's movies, Nightmare, and Cats.
Okay.
Kind of puts all my personality and likes into one, I guess. I don't know.
Katie's usually one of our normals, regular people on here. Regular people on here, and she's in and out sometimes, and we kind of have a somewhat a revolving cast here and there. But this week we have Katie, and hopefully we'll be joined by Mr. Dan later, and hopefully Jody or one of our other regulars.
Yeah, sorry I missed the last couple of shows. Things kind of got mixed up for me, so I apologize about that.
It's okay. Glad you're here today. If I had to change my name to my likes, it would be Kenny's Pepsi and Pizza Palace.
That works. Well, because my channel was just Katie Warman, so I was like, well, I want to put a little bit of personality on it, not just my name. So it's just kind of what I came up with.
Add a little dash to it.
Yeah.
Well, eventually, if I can ever get my new channel started that Super Movie Fun Yes, I finally decided to make a channel with actual movie in the title instead of something that sounds like a political channel. Everybody always liked low IQ media, but it's just it'd be better if I was doing political, and I'm just not good enough to do political commentary. I enjoy it, but I'm not I'm not good enough to be doing that myself. People just get pissed off all the time.
Yeah, no, that's people take that stuff seriously.
Yeah. I also have a Facebook blog that I do daily. It's TVs, movies, music, and stuff on Facebook. I'll send you the link, Katie. And I always put this thing. Remember when you used to go to the video stores and you used to go with your sibling, your parents, or whatever like that, and your mom would say, "All right, boys, you each get one." Each get one. Because my brother would get one, I would get one, and my mom would pick one out. Okay, so it was like we could take 3 home. Okay, so there was always that decision, and like I always put the video store, and like I had so many hateful comments today on today's post because I put Die Hard 2 or Green Mile, and they're like, they're not even the same type of movies, and I'm like, didn't you ever go into the video store in the 90s and you had that choice? All right, boys, you have to be, because my mom would always say that to me and my brother. All right, boys, choose. Do you want Green Mile or, Die Hard? What's your decision?
Yeah.
And people were just like writing hate stuff. It's like mine's like stupid stuff. I like post like biggest cheeseburgers or like, do you like tuna melt or egg salad sandwiches? It's like it's like the stupidest page that you could do. But like people were getting like mad at me because I had those both like as a choice. I'm thinking to myself, it's fun,
That's crazy. Yeah, because I mean, if you only have one choice, you're gonna go through probably each genre and see like which one you want to watch at that moment in time. Because
exactly.
You're in different moods at different times, so you're going to want to pick what you want. Like I'm not always in the mood for horror, just like I'm not always in the mood for a comedy or a sad movie. You got to be in the mood for a certain kind of movie. So I get that.
Yeah.
I don't know why people would get mad. I mean, they're not the same genre, but if those are your choices, you're going to pick what you're in the mood for. So of course.
It's like sometimes you feel like a goofy comedy, and sometimes you feel like, grab the tissues, honey. I'm going to be crying at this movie. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So it's like, yeah, exactly. So I don't understand people's rationale for things,
Maybe they're just younger people, and they don't understand the video store decision-making process or something. I don't know.
Yeah, you think about that, because when did video stores go away? 2004-ish? And then there was Redbox.
That began to go away then, yeah.
Okay, well, just think about that. That's 20 years. So that's a whole generation that didn't experience video stores like we all did.
Yeah, I know. That's really crazy to think about.
Ain't that nuts?
Yeah, that's really sad too, because it's just, yeah, like they
That's
didn't
why.
get to go out and just experience like just seeing all the covers and just having that family time of actually sitting down and watching a movie together. Now everybody's just in their own rooms, watching their own thing on their own devices. Like yeah, it's really sad.
And I think that's why the people of our generation always like. I didn't really get into horror until a couple years ago. Okay, to be honest, when I started watching you and Brian and Bryce, all those guys on the YouTube, and it was like, and I didn't really get in. But if you remember, if you went back in like the 80s and 90s, all the great cover arts were for
Yeah,
the horror movies. Like I remember renting Reanimator. I didn't know what the hell Reanimator was, but the cover was awesome.
yeah, exactly.
So you kind of you kind of lean towards that, and then when you got it home, it was like, what am I? I remember my brother renting Basket Case for the first time because of the cover. We had no idea. We didn't read the back of it. We just seen the
I know
cover and was
you.
like, that's interesting.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that doing the video store rental thing really was judging the movie by the cover. But when you're
Yeah.
not actually supposed to do that, never judge a book by a cover, but you judge the movie by the cover.
Yeah.
Like just the cover looks so awesome, you just get it no matter what it is.
Well, that was exactly the purpose of them. There was a lot of just bad movies, and that's how they sold them.
Yeah.
Those covers.
Yeah,
And
exactly.
we came off of like the 70s era of like vinyl record covers as well, or you had a lot of over the top vinyl. Not saying the 60s didn't, but the 70s were probably kind of the pinnacle of vinyl record. The crazy cover arts with like Led Zeppelin and just a bunch of those.
Yes.
And
I had no idea who Yes was or Genesis, but they had always great covers, And I remember our next door neighbor. He always had like the vinyl cover, the albums, and he was friends with with my aunt, so we would go over there and we would draw the covers. I mean, I remember the Genesis album, Trick of the Tail, where they had just a line of people. We would be, trying to draw the album cover. The same with Journey Escape when that came out,
Oh, the good old times.
Yeah.
Yeah, the prog rock, they were probably the best covers. And my dad, whenever in the 70s, he built a chopper. Well, it wasn't like a big stretched out chopper. But he built a motorcycle. Then he had the Boston spaceship on the gas tank.
Oh, that's cool.
And the paint was like this blue and red color. It's like kind of it was sharp.
I never knew the Boston album cover was a guitar.
Well, this was the original Boston album cover. The one you remember, it had the spaceship. It's more of a cartoonish. Well,
if you look at the spaceship is a guitar.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
I didn't know that. It wasn't until like about 10 years ago. Somebody on Facebook said, I was this year old when I found out that this was a guitar, and it's basically a guitar turned upside down with the city of Boston.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
So, the more you know.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
That's funny.
But did anybody? I picked up the Twister 4K.
Oh, nice.
This week, and I was.
Is that that steelbook?
No, this is just a regular 4K release. Yeah, just a regular slip cover. Everything. I believe it was offered at Walmart as a steel book, and I didn't realize that until, I pre-ordered it through Amazon like a month ago.
Oh, okay.
And then like the day before it came up as saying it's not going to come into the 22nd of this month. So they evidently sold out and didn't have enough to send me one.
Oh, wow.
And so I got on Walmart, and Walmart had it. but they also had sold out of their steelbook of it. I didn't really care. I just wanted. I'll be perfectly honest with you. I just like the regular 4K look
Look,
at those. Yeah, the slip. I just like that black. It just looks and steelbooks are starting. I think the steelbook was going to be like $40 too. They went up so much in price that I don't I don't really like fooling with them too much anymore unless it's something I really really want. And
yeah, they
What's
actually. Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
no? I was just going to ask you, Katie. What's the obsession with steelbooks? Because I personally don't get it.
I honestly don't get it either
Oh,
because most of the movies that I buy that are on Steelbook, I actually already own. So I honestly have no explanation for it. For me personally, I don't know what it is. I just love them for some unexplainable reason. Because I mean, I understand like the artwork I love, that's part of it, but that's not necessarily all. I don't know. I can't really explain it because I honestly, I know you're all about 4K, John, and everything, but me, I, I I think my eyesight is just not that great that I just, or maybe it is because just the 4K player already upgrades the DVDs and the Blu-rays that I just don't even see a difference between them. That I don't know. I just don't care about 4K is for 4K purpose. I just get it could be a DVD steelbook and I'm happy. So it's
yeah,
just, I don't know. But Walmart is putting out Texas Chainsaw Massacre from, I think it's 2010, and then Leatherface, Wolf Creek, um, Cannibal Rising. Shit, what are the other ones? There's like 2 or 3 other ones, all on Steelbook for $22.95.
oh, wow.
yeah,
Yeah, so of course I want to get all of those. Those are also all horror titles. So I think they're doing that, getting ready for
yeah.
Halloween. But they're like a black and orange looking kind of color. So they all got like that same kind of color scheme, but they look beautiful. So, but
Yeah, as far as 4K goes, it's also unfortunately it the oh crap, we got some comments here.
Hi, Sydney.
I'm sorry everybody, I missed your guys' comments. I forgot to pull the menu up. But as far as 4K, I can tell a difference, but I've had cataract surgery and I have like pretty clear lenses. So before then, I it was hit or miss. But once I fixed my eyes were fixed, could see a huge difference. But it's also just like Blu-ray, where when they first started coming out, you have like rush job transfers that aren't that good, and you might as well there might as well have not been ever put on. It might as well not have been put on 4K. And but the but sometimes like the audio track is a heck of a lot different. That's where you know a movie that has big sound, it'll really shine with the audio transfer. It really comes
okay.
out with like Dolby Atmos and stuff like that. For it's like get some of the movies like what movie did I what movie oh like the Blues Brothers, like that soundtrack was massive on the 4K transfer, and I mean it's just like got a lot of music and high speed chases and stuff in it. It's just amazing. But the reason why I bought steelbooks to begin with, especially the 4K steelbooks, was at first whenever the 4K first started coming out, they could be anywhere from 20. They were like about $27 to $30 for just a regular. Then the steelbooks, like at Best Buy, would be like $32.99. So the price difference wasn't. So I just collected the 4K steelbooks. That's why I got into them. But actually, I have to kind of well, I'm not disagreeing with you. It's whatever artwork you like. I like original artwork, original movie poster artwork,
I do too.
and that's where a lot of times on the steelbooks they vary away from that, and they do something original, which is cool. But that's why I like that Twister, because that's original poster art. and
Okay.
and like UHF came out, and it was the same way. You got like the original movie poster art with it, and I really like that. Yeah.
Kind of the reason why I don't actually go for the slips a lot of the time.
Yeah.
Um,
How's it going, Sydney?
if I can find one with a slip that's close by.
Yeah, Katie would probably see that more than we would, right, John?
Well, I've heard it's good, but I have not. I'm
Which one?
actually
Maxine.
Huh? Oh, Maxine, yeah.
Yes,
I
Sydney
actually
just
have
asked.
not watched Pearl yet. I have it, but I haven't watched it, and I think I've only watched X like one time so far. So I need to get on that. But I don't have. But the reason why I don't like the ones with slips, is because it's the same exact artwork that's on the slip, that's on the
Oh
artwork
yeah,
cover on the sleeve,
yeah,
and I like
yeah.
it to be different. Like I think that should be the whole point of having the slip. If it's the same exact artwork, like what is the damn point, in my opinion? And so that's why I go more for a steelbook than I will ever go for a slip. But and some of them are like stunningly beautiful, like the Wicker Man, the Lionsgate Wicker Man. Like, oh my God, that is just absolutely gorgeous. And then especially like the Lionsgate one, because they actually do have the slip with them. And then when you remove the slip, it's like a totally different picture underneath. Like, I love that. So for those ones, that's specifically like has to deal with the art. And I think it also might just be because, you know, I already have so many movies that it's another way to collect the same movies I already have again, because, you know, this way I can buy them, but just in a new way, if that makes any sense.
Yeah.
Hey, Dan.
Hey, how are you?
Sam. Doing pretty
Hello.
good.
Hi, Katie. How are you?
Hi.
Good. How are you?
Good. Hey, John.
How are you doing?
Doing well, thanks.
It's been a while.
Yeah. Just got back from the airport a couple minutes ago. So
Good.
Thanks for having me.
Thanks for coming. Yeah,
Absolutely.
we're just discussing like steelbooks. I know you're like me, Dan. Don't do the steelbooks. You're happy with what you get, and Katie's like that too with DVD and stuff like that.
Yeah, I do have a couple. I mean, I've seen a couple on. I don't know if I've ever bought a new one. Maybe I have. Maybe one or two. I think I just bought one recently from Walmart. I can't remember what it was when they had their section out. But I've gotten a couple used ones. So, you know, you're kind of taking a chance because it's like, is it going to have a dent or not? But I've got Scarface, Texas Chainsaw Massacre that has like the meat on the back of it. And I think I have Saving Private Ryan Steelbook. But those three were all used. So
Those are the only ones you have?
And then I just bought a new one. It may have been I think it was a Cronenberg movie. I forget which one. Recently.
Shivers or something?
No, oh no, wait. Yeah, I think it was Shivers. They had Shivers at Walmart, and I think I got that steelbook. Decent price, so I got it.
I just watched
Sydney.
one. I just watched one that Sydney today. That's on Tubi, not a sponsor. It's called 45 with Mila Jovovich.
Oh, yep, I have that. I haven't seen it yet, but I have it.
I know. I seen your haul on getting it, your pickups from it, and I was like, okay, because as soon as I watch somebody's videos, like if I watch Mr. Dan's videos, especially Kung Fu Theater, which he's kicking ass on, I love that the Kung Fu Theater. So I'll go right on Tubi, I'll go right on the YouTube to see if I can find it and watch it. You know, so it's like boom, you know, instantly, because a lot of them are hard to get. Like Dan has to go through like MVD, all these like boutique places to get the kung fu movies. So it's like I don't care if it's a crappy copy. I just want to watch it, And it's
No,
like I've enjoyed it. But that 45, it's on Tubi. Let me tell you, it's very adult. I'm not going to beat around the bush. There's a lot of harsh language in it. There's a lot of nudity in it. But Mila Jovovich is great in that movie. And I can't believe it's, I think, from 2011. I never even heard of it before. It's really good.
Yeah, my boyfriend's the one who said that that's a really good movie, so that's why we got it. But like I said, like probably over half of my collection I have not actually seen yet. So I've got plenty to catch up on. Movie for me, I would say is of course, now I just lost it. If either one of you guys want to go, I'll go last so I can try to think of the name again.
What do you got, Dan?
Let's see.
I'll go with, I mean, I've got some really obscure ones. I love this movie called Till Human Voices Wake Us with Guy Pearce. And
I have that movie. It's with Helen Bonham Carter too, right?
Helen Bonham Carter, yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. It's a moody, kind of a strange movie. But I don't know. I really like it. That's a good one. And then from Kino a while back, I got The Silent Partner from the 70s.
Yes.
70s.
Elliot Gould.
Elliot Gould and Christopher Plummer. It's a great movie. I've never seen anyone give that a bad review. Anyone that's gotten that and watched it has given it like a great review.
I just picked that up in my last Kino, and it's an early John Candy movie too.
Yeah.
Because John Candy plays one of the tellers in there.
Yeah.
I was like, I kept on looking at it. I'm like, is that John Candy? I said, there's no way in hell that could be John Candy. Well, 1979.
Yeah, you figure back then. I mean, Andrea Martin was in Black Christmas, so they were before they all sort of coalesced in SCTV. They were trying their hand at different things and trying.
Right.
And then, of course, after SCTV, it was mostly like, hey, let's put them in comedies because they were funny. But that's like when you watch God Told Me To, and you see Andy Kaufman in there playing a cop, and it's like, what?
Wow.
It's like, what? Andy Kaufman? It's not like a funny role or anything. He's just a random cop in a parade in that movie. It's really pretty weird.
That's why I like watching those old cop shows from like the 70s and stuff. You'll see like cops, and you'll go, oh, there's Robert Urich. Yeah. Or, where they were just, young actors trying to get a role,
Yep.
How about you, John?
They always ask questions. It's hard for me to answer because a third of my movies are stuff like that, and trying to pin down one that is really amazing. I have no idea. I don't know. Like I was thinking, what comes to my head, like Two-Lane Blacktop or something like that.
Okay. Never heard of that one.
Yeah, that's crap. The director. What's the director that did that? Well, it's a car movie essentially, but it's got Dennis Wilson. Let me grab it here so you guys can see it. But
I never heard of that before.
Steve, my memory goes to shit when I get on here.
That always happens to me.
Yeah.
Did you think of yours yet, Katie?
Yeah, I can't actually remember the title right now. It's something like I'm Not the Serial Killer or something like that. It's on Shudder. I don't actually own a physical copy, although I want to. And I can't remember the actual main guy's name, but it has Christopher Lloyd in it. And it's a crazy ass movie that I don't ever hear anyone talk about. But that one is highly underrated in my opinion. Because like I said, I haven't heard anyone ever mention it. But it is very well done. And I just think that movie is great. It's got some twists in it that I would never have saw coming, and I just think it's awesome.
Sorry, that movie I was talking about has Monty Hellman directed it, and I'm not good at synopsis, so I'll just read it. It's like wild drag racing through the American Southwest, and it's a 1955 Chevrolet drag car. But James Taylor's the driver, and Dennis Wilson's the mechanic. It also has Warren Oates, Harry Dean Stanton's in it.
Wow.
And but Warren Oates' character name is GTO because he drives a GT. I don't know if he ever has a name. I don't know if anybody actually has a name.
Is that the singer James Taylor?
Yes.
Wow.
Yeah. And Laurie Bird's in it. It's the girl they pick up, but they basically bet pink slips who can win the race across country, and they against James Taylor and Warren Oates. But Warren Oates is clearly like crazy. He keeps talking. Like every time he stops and picks up hitchhikers all the time. Like Harry Dean Stanton's the hitchhiker he picks up, and he always says the same story, but it's a different variation. But it's always he used to be a fighter pilot or something, and now he's driving this car across country for General Motors or something like that. It's always some bullcrap story he's telling them, but he's clearly off in the head. And but Harry Dean Stanton actually plays he actually comes on to him. And he's like, it's a weird character. It's got some weird, it's some weird stuff, but it's a really good movie.
Yeah, I sounds like something I have to see. You
haven't seen Two Lane Blacktop?
No, it's one of those.
Really?
You know, I've never seen Vanishing Point either. So
yeah, that one's good too. I was thinking of that as well.
Yeah, but then I've seen some really obscure car movies. Like I'm doing my checklist wrong. Like Crash, which is a full moon movie about a possessed car. Like that shit crazy. And I'm actually looking right now for one. I saw a made-for-TV movie with Martin Sheen, Nick Nolte, and Vic Morrow. I'll get it in a second here. But anyway, whatever that was pretty good. He had like it's called California Kid. California Kid. That was the name of the car, which was some like a 32 Ford or something. This is in the 70s, so it was old, but it wasn't like that old, and it was all souped up. And Vic Morrow runs this guy off the road in the beginning, who's played by Joe Estevez. So I wonder who.
Oh wow!
I wonder what relation of the Martin Sheen character he's going to be. But anyway, so then Martin Sheen comes into town with this car, and he kind of like instigates the sheriff, and it was just it was a made-for-TV movie, but it was like really good.
Never heard of it. Sounds good though.
Yeah, I mean, I've got books on made-for-TV movies, and I had never heard of it. It just popped up, and I was probably because I watched another car movie. So then YouTube was like, "Here you go." So then I watched. But I just saw a couple about a month ago. I got to see Dirty Mary, Crazy Larry in the theater. Yeah. My son and I saw that in the theater.
That's cool. That's one I was thinking about when you were saying other obscure. That's a good one.
I got that the double feature that Shout Factory put out. Yeah, they said it was going out of print with Race with the Devil. Yeah. Peter Fonda's in both of them, so I made sure I got that. I love both of those movies.
That's a strange one. That's a good
Race with the Devil. Speaking of Warren Oates, that's a weird one.
Was that supposed to be like a Warren Oates double feature or something? I don't know.
Well, I guess
I don't know.
Yeah, well, Peter Fonda is in both, but Warren Oates is only in Race with the Devil.
Yes.
Wait. Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
Oh, for some reason I had Two Lane Blacktop in my head when I said
right.
feature. Yeah.
Right. Yeah. I just saw Warren Oates in an episode of The Rifleman from the 50s. I've never seen him so young. He was young in that, but I love that guy.
Let's see here.
Yeah, Katie, Warren Oates was the guy in Stripes that gave Bill Murray a hard time. You're the thumb. Remember, he's the one that said, "Settle down, Francis."
Sergeant Holka.
Sergeant Holka, thank you. I could not.
I honestly barely remember Stripes.
Okay.
Yeah,
I know I've seen it, of course.
Come on, Katie.
I know, I'm terrible. It's been years since I've seen so many of these movies that I've only seen like once, maybe twice, and seriously, like all of it is gone now. It's terrible.
think Sydney just needs to be our producer and come up
Right.
with
Yes.
questions because she
Thank you, Sydney.
Good questions.
yeah
Well, mine goes.
she has good
Star
questions.
Wars. Mine Star Wars. It begins with Star Wars. That changed my whole
Yeah.
look on movies.
That was huge. Yep.
Yeah.
Oh, when Dan said the 32 Ford, if everybody listening don't know what that is, if you've ever seen the George Lucas movie American Graffiti, the yellow car in that movie is a 32 Ford.
Oh, okay.
The coupe the main character drives around, the really good looking car. That's a 32 Ford.
Yeah. I hope I'm not wrong about. I could actually be wrong about the make and model of the car. The front of it just reminded me of that. So that's why I said it. But I don't know. You can look up a
And
picture.
the
Even in the
ZZ
thumbnail,
Top
you can see it.
car, if you're familiar with the ZZ Top car that they were famous with, the red car they're famous with, that's a 34 Ford.
Oh, okay.
It's a slightly different. It's a little bit different than the 32. The 32 had the grill in the front straight up and down, and the 34 had like a sweeping hood and sweeping fender. Sorry, I'm nerd. I know car. But that was my dad's favorite movie. Like, my dad's not a big movie guy. That's why I had to do everything on my own when it come to movies, because my parents not really into. My mom watches movies, but she watches stuff from she watches like the Lifetime movies and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
So, but my dad, I don't know, him and his friends went and saw that like 4 or 5 times in the theater. And my grandfather owned a Chrysler dealership, so we've been around drag racing. So I've been around racing and cars my whole life. So,
that's cool. That's cool. Yeah. Well, that's one of the reasons why Star Wars was such a big. I mean, it would have been huge anyway, but the fact that my dad just walked into my room one day and said, because he read about it in the paper, and said, "We're going to the movies," and I had no idea even what it was, because it was just starting to take off, because he was not a science fiction or horror fan that really, but he read about it. He probably saw Alec Guinness was in it, and he decided to take me, and it just totally blew me away.
I would have to say, oh, go ahead, Kenny.
No, I was just gonna say, I was 7 when I seen it, and it was just like that first scene when the ship comes, and when you're used to watching a TV on a 13-inch black and white TV,
yep,
with rabbit ears.
Yeah.
That scene, just like, I remember sitting there and my mouth just being agape, because I could not
it just kept going and going.
Yeah, and it just like it kept on moving, and it's just like, and then you've never seen, like, being 7, you never see like a bad guy like that. You never see a badass like Darth Vader coming.
He snaps somebody's neck,
It's in the first 5 minutes.
Yeah,
and it's just like, okay, I'm in. I think I seen that 9 times that summer.
I think for me, since I wasn't like the first generation. I was born in '78, so I missed Star Wars, in the theater.
You missed
really all of them, because they were all released before I was really able to really comprehend stuff. So for me, though, it was probably Back to the Future.
Okay.
Or Explorers. I really loved Explorers as a kid, because it was kind of an adventure movies, which we don't see any at all. We don't see them at all anymore.
Right.
Stuff like that. Probably the last one really made was what was the baseball movie? The Sandlot. That I can really remember. I'm sure they made that one kind of dirty one a couple of years ago with the kids that was like the foul mouth.
Oh yeah,
I can't remember. Guys. Yeah, you remember that? Yeah.
Good Boys or something.
But then there was
Good Boys. Yeah.
I think there was one on Shudder, like, what was it called? Like the summer of '84. It was set in the '80s, and it's about 3 kids that think their neighbor, who's a police officer, is a serial killer.
Oh.
And it's like an homage to those type of movies, but it was and of course nobody believes them, but how it goes. And it got a little darker than I thought at the end, but
he was a serial killer. That.
Yeah,
I feel like I've seen that. Yeah.
You know what? it's the kind of movie like until we were talking about this topic, I probably hadn't thought about it since I watched it, but it was okay, you know.
Sydney recommends Murder in the First.
Oh,
I just literally picked that up on me and Katie are big Whatnot people, Mr. Dan. And,
I got to get into that. Yep.
Man, I'm telling you, I'll privately tell you like the two guys that we go to, and you're a DVD person like me and Katie, so it's like this guy sells them $1 a piece. And a lot of them are hard to find stuff. Like you'll appreciate this one, Dan. Less Than Zero.
Oh,
You can't find this anymore.
Mm-hmm.
And I got it for $1.
Yeah, that's awesome.
So I was happy to get that because that's one that I remember. I was telling the kids I graduated high school, and the movie came out that week, and we. Everybody in our class, there was 14 of us. We went to see it that week, and it was just like that weekend, and it was just like, wow, you know.
They had the Bangles on the soundtrack, right?
Oh, that soundtrack is great. Going back to LL Cool J and going back to Cali. Yeah.
I picked this up during the Criterion sale. It's sometimes I like to go in there and just randomly pick up stuff that looks interesting. And the reason that this movie caught my eyes because I've seen another movie by the director. It's called Chop Shop.
Never heard of that.
And let's see here. I pulled it up so I can't read that small text on here.
Is it about butchers?
No, it's Chop Shop's what they do to cars.
I was teasing.
The chop cars. But the movie's not really about that. It's about like the kid in there. He's probably I don't know. He's probably like 11 or 12 years old, and that's his sister, the other girl, and they're essentially homeless. But they don't really address that. But at first he's just he's doing odd jobs, anything to make money on the street, and he's looking for his sister. She's ran off somewheres, and he keeps calling places trying to find her. And she eventually comes back, and by this time in the movie, which is like 10 minutes into the movie, he's working at a chop shop, and the guy's letting him live in the shop. He has like a room in there, and so they both live there. And it's really, there's no plot in this guy's movies. The other movie he did, I had to pull it. It's called Man Push Cart. And his movies take place in New York. They're all New York-based movies, and the guy is Ramin Barani. I don't know if he's I can't remember if he's Pakistani or Indian, but they're just kind of the day in the life of a person type movies. Not really a solid plot. But in Chop Shop, the kid is. It's just him trying to save up money. He wants to buy this like food truck, and he wants his sister to drive it because she's old enough. I don't know, she's probably 18. We don't really know her. There's no really age given, and she keeps bringing him money, and he slowly realizes, and he finally finds out that she's prostituting herself to make this money, and it's like the actor's really good because he goes from this kind of more like a kid, and you see him playing around till he becomes more serious and angered at the fact that his sister's doing this because he ends up buying this food truck, but it's just a con job. He pays too much money for it, but he's got all these people around him, the adults around him, and it's just an interesting movie because the shop takes place. It looks I'm not real familiar with New York as far as the boroughs and stuff. It looks like it's probably like Brooklyn or someplace because it's across from Manhattan. Because where's one of the baseball stadiums in New York, like the Mets? Where do they play at? They play in Brooklyn or
Flushing Meadow, New York.
Flushing. It might be there because the road that he's working on is like right behind the stadium. Because there's one scene where him and one of his friends, they go across the highway and they're like watching the game through like a back fence area for free. And like
it could also be the Yankees too, because they're in the Bronx,
It might, yeah. I like I'm saying, I don't know. I don't think they really show a team, what team's playing there, but the cinematography is fantastic. Like, and for this type of movie, because it's generally it's for the most part it's like a single cam movie that's kind of following him around, but then it'll pull back on these wonderful wide shots of things, different wide shots of the street and the activity going on. There's one scene at the beginning where there's a plane like coming in for a landing, and it's just a really great shot over that comes across the scene. It's, I don't know, I love great cinematography, and for a small movie, it has really nice cinematography in it. The Man Push Carts is basically a guy working in Manhattan who operates like a canteen type cart, a street corner cart, but he can't afford like a car or something to pull it to the site, so you see him like every morning pulling it by hand to where he's got where he stores it to and so it's kind of the same type of movie. It's just like a day in the life of some guy, So those are that Chop Shop is really good. I recommend that movie. Sorry, I'm a little long-winded. That's why I need to call my channel Long-Winded Reviews.
I do have some longer ones, but I'm also trying to have like some that I keep under 5 minutes.
Yeah.
Just because it's also helping me sort of get to the point, you know what I mean? And
yeah.
And like my Day the Earth Stood Still one, it wasn't a whole lot, there wasn't that much to say about it, so, but yeah, I got my eyes on like 5 minutes for a lot of videos now.
Good Lord, I don't know how many Billy Bob Thornton movies I've seen. I'm serious. I don't know if I've seen that many Billy Bob Thornton movies. To name 3.
Sling Blade.
Yep.
And I've seen what was the astronaut movie? The
Armageddon.
Farmer.
No, the
Astronaut
Farmer. Astronaut Farmer. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've seen that. And was he in Armageddon?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, he was.
Is he the main guy?
Oh yeah,
is he the main guy?
In
Mission Control.
Mission Control, yeah.
Oh, okay.
So then Armageddon 2.
Is there Armageddon 2?
Yeah.
Or not 2, but I mean as well.
As also.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. And then A Simple Plan. He's in that. That's a good one.
Oh, that's a good one. Yeah.
He's good in that. That's a good role.
Yeah. The other one I
don't think I know that movie.
Yeah,
that's a Sam Raimi movie with Bill Paxton too. They're brothers. Yeah, it's really good.
I apologize to anybody out there. The Ramin Barani, he's just American. He was born in North Carolina.
Oh.
Well, I've tried to start doing that lately. I hate when people call people Japanese American or African American. If you're born in America, you're American. Because like when I was in the hospital after I got my transplant, there was a girl in there, and I thought she sounded like she sounded Native American. And I asked her, and she was like, "Oh, other people asked me," but she was from California. She was from Los Angeles, and she was Asian American. But I was like, she's like, "Well, I'm from Los Angeles. I was born in Los Angeles." So, well, you're just regular old American then.
Well, that's like I'm infatuated with Orson Welles. Dude's from Kentucky. I always thought he was from like Britain or something,
No. I knew he's American, but I didn't know he's from Kentucky, though.
Yeah, he's from Kentucky.
I didn't know that.
Mm-hmm. Same with Johnny Depp. But Depp's got this like funky accent that he uses with his voice, and I always thought he was from New Zealand or something like that. He's also from Kentucky too, so it's just like I don't know.
Harry Dean Stanton, we were just talking about. Technically, he's actually listed from my hometown. And, he says West Urban. It says West Urban, Kentucky, but Urban's tiny, so there's no East and West Irvin. It's just there is a West Irvin. It is called West Irvin, but it's not. It's the same. It's about a third of a mile away from what Irvin.
That's cool.
But,
They have
but he wasn't born here. He wasn't born there. I don't know why he listed it there. Yeah, he was born like in. I think he was born like in West Virginia or West Virginia or something like that. But they moved when he was young because I think he went to school at the University of Kentucky before he went into the Navy. And that's about all I know about his early life before he came back from the war and started acting. Or maybe he went to University of Kentucky after I don't really remember, but
yeah, that's cool. You know, a lot of actors back in the days, they would just make up their own accent to cover their background. Like Cary Grant just kind of made up his own style of speaking to sort of cover up his sort of humble beginnings. You know,
That's interesting.
Yeah,
I had no idea like where Dean Martin was from either.
Yeah, I remember
until I watched his biography on Max. I was like, "Whoa, okay."
You got. I know where he's from because of the Dean Martin roast, where Don Rickles is like, he goes, "Where are you from in Ohio?" And he names some town, and he goes, "No, Steubenville." And he goes, "Does it matter?" and then he goes, "Steubenville, boop, lunch."
Yeah, that's if you haven't seen it, it's on Max. It's like something called The Man, Dean Martin, and it was like I had no idea he was from Ohio. I guess you're ignorant to the fact that when you grow up, these guys are all from California, and they all have the big tans and stuff like that. But that dude came from dirt poor.
Yeah.
Dean Martin.
Yeah, well, a lot of those guys did. I mean that story Kurt Russell tells about Charles Bronson. That's like,
that's heartbreaking, isn't it?
He didn't have 3 meals a day until he joined the Army in World War II. Can you imagine growing up like that? You never had 3 meals a day until you joined the military.
Yeah, if you don't know that story, Kurt Russell worked in a movie with Charles Bronson when he was a young kid, and it was Christmas time, and Kurt Russell gave him a present, and he said, "I never had a Christmas present before."
Yeah,
Charles Bronson, really? Wow.
Yeah. Well, first he took it and he didn't say anything, and it was awkward. And then somebody came and got Kurt Russell, who's 14, and said, Charlie wants to see you in his trailer. So he went to his trailer and he said, "Listen, I apologize." And then he said, "I didn't know what to say because it's the first time I ever got a present. No one's ever gave me a present before."
It's heartbreaking.
Yeah. Wow.
He just the way he looks just screams rough life.
Yeah.
The way he looked. Yeah. He wore it on his face, and unfortunately, yeah.
Yeah, the guy we went on, dozens of bombing runs in World War II. I mean, but a lot of those guys did. Even some of the guys that had roles on TV that were kind of like Russell Johnson from Gilligan's Island.
Mm-hmm.
He went on a lot of bombing missions in World War II also.
Wasn't Hugh Beaumont also?
I don't know, but I wouldn't be surprised. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. But I like watching movies from the 70s. All the character actors, if they're supposed to be playing like a rough character, that's what they look like. Like, you know what I mean? Like they get a guy that is playing a farmer. He looks like he's been in the sun for 30 years. They all look like so rough, like realistic. Not everybody back then got their teeth fixed, and it looked like they looked like real people.
Well, I put this meme out on my Instagram page a couple weeks ago, and it was the ages of like the 70s stars when they were at their height. It was like, I think it was Gene Stapleton, who played Edith Bunker, was 44. Carol O'Connor was 48. When Mr. Roper was on there, he was 53. And I'm thinking to myself, oh my God, I'm older than Mr. Roper.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's just like, that's crazy.
Well, that one meme where Paul Rudd, they put Paul Rudd and Wilford Brimley side by side.
Yes.
They're the same age, and it's like.
Well, I mean, that just shows how much easier we've had it, our generation since World War II, how much easier we've had it because, I mean, especially since Vietnam era, we've had it a much easier. But because like being here in Kentucky, especially Eastern Kentucky, you had people had it rough. Even like my mom and stuff like that. They still, and my grandmother too. They still lived out in the country. And you wonder why I have such a country accent because my mom has a thick country accent. So
oh wow,
I can't avoid it. And just I live here in Kentucky. But yeah, my mom was pretty poor growing up because like her dad was a drunk, and my grandmother had to get divorced from my grandfather, and she raised them by themselves. Yeah, she would talk about she couldn't wait till my grandmother got home after work with her groceries each week, stuff like that. I mean, they had because she went and worked in factories, but but my mom, they'd make some of their own clothes. I think she made her own like prom dress and stuff like that. Stuff. So, I mean, it's just country life is kind of rough, can be rough. I didn't grow up like that. I wasn't like rich or nothing, but my dad grew up a little bit better. My grandfather, he owned businesses and things like that, and different businesses and stuff. So they're more middle class growing up. That's how I grew up, but it was middle class, in Kentucky. So that was probably like lower class in New York and Los Angeles, a big city. It's kind of weird. But yeah, watching those older movies, Grapes of Wrath and stuff like that.
Oh yeah, well,
that's
depression.
Yeah.
That's what I was amazed at when I finally sat down. I had seen parts of Hard Times with Charles Bronson when it used to come on TV. I never watched it all the way through until I got the DVD copy. Boy, I guess Louisiana in the 70s didn't look a whole lot different than it did in the 30s because it really, the location, I mean, you really believed it was in the middle of the Great Depression. All the location shots.
Mm-hmm.
It's cool. I do have a good story from my grandfather, my mom's father. I never really considered him my grandfather because my mom had a stepdad, and my mom didn't take him around because he was my real grandfather. He died in like 1987 of cancer because he was a drinker and a smoker. So but she said at one time that he made moonshine, and they found out the police were going to come and raid him, so they sunk the still in a pond behind the house. They had a pond, so they sunk all the steel in it. So I thought that was pretty funny.
So your grandpa was Uncle Jesse from Dukes of Hazzard.
Yeah, I guess. Yeah.
Well, that was a whole nother like sort of subgenre in the 70s, like a subgenre like moonshine movies.
Yeah.
There's a good one with John Saxon. I think it's Moonshine Express maybe or something like that. But
that's a lot of horror movies in the 70s too, where they would find their way into some little hick town somewheres and get slaughtered, or get chased by some backwoods deliverance type people.
Yeah, get off the main highway.
Yeah. That was a lot of the those kind of movies were I don't know if they would consider them B movies, but they were like the drive-in movie stuff, the grindhouse drive-in movies.
I don't know what they considered them, but they were always fun to watch, though.
Yeah.
Those ones from back then actually looked way too real.
Yeah.
Like Last House on the Left compared to the remake. Like that is a completely different movie from, I think it was right from the 70s, the original.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. That one looks way too real compared to the remake from the 2000s. Like they're not even in the same genre.
Yeah. It's even the remake of Texas Chainsaw Massacre with R. Lee Ermey, that one. which is pretty good. And I think they kind of tried to make it kind of gritty, but you can't match the original as far as that goes.
Yeah, and I know there's I Spit on Your Grave. I've never actually seen the original, but I've seen the remake, so I can only imagine what the original was like, because I've seen Last House on the Left, so I can only imagine.
Yeah, the original, it's rough. It's rough stuff. Yeah.
And the one I would really actually like to see, but I refuse to because of the real parts of it, is Cannibal Holocaust. But what they do to the animals in there, I will never watch it. I don't care.
That's a wild one.
Yeah.
I watched that on Last Drive-In with Billy Bob.
Yeah.
Joe Bob. I always
yeah.
No,
he's funny.
They do have an animal cruelty free version, but I don't know if it's
okay.
Yeah, I don't know if that comes with the other one or you can get that separately or not. I don't know.
Oh, okay. I didn't know that.
Yeah, because
it is. What's weird about Cannibal Holocaust, though, it's almost documentary-like. So, that's what it's supposed to be. It's supposed to be a found footage movie.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, it's supposed to be. It was portrayed as real because he was taken to court and everything like that because they thought it was actually real, like a snuff film and all that kind of stuff, and all that kind of that whole situation was crazy. But what they did to the animals, that was real though, and I'm against that. So that's why I refuse to watch it. I don't want to support that.
Now, what about? I never remember the name of this movie. The Australian movie. It's got Donald Pleasance in it. About a teacher that gets stuck in this town in the middle of nowhere. And Australian towns in the middle of nowhere are just as bad as our towns in the middle of nowhere. They're just as bad. But he can't get out of this town, and he falls in with these guys who have nothing to do, and they go out drinking. And there's a scene where they go out and they go hunting kangaroos. And all of a sudden, I'm seeing scenes of real kangaroos being shot. Well, apparently they have an actual scheduled hunts to thin the population. So they went out and they filmed part of that and put it in the movie.
Interesting.
Oh God.
Yeah, but it's something that the government was doing to reduce the population because they're the same as deer here. If they just let them go, you got more highway fatalities and everything. But
is it called Wake and Fright?
Wake and Fright. That's it. Yeah. Okay. That's a weird. That's a strange movie.
Oh.
But if you're watching that, you got to be ready for that.
That's terrible, though. I mean, I don't know. What is it? Faces of Death or whatever. That has some real shit in it too. Yeah. I don't want to watch that.
With the monkeys and stuff. Yeah.
Yeah. No.
My
I can handle people just fine, but when it comes to the animals, like in I Am Legend, sorry, spoiler for anyone who hasn't seen it, but when the dog, I cried my eyes out. But Will Smith or whatever, I don't remember exactly. I don't think he dies at the end or whatever, but I could care less about him. It was all about the dog.
Yeah.
And could barely get through Pet Sematary 2 because how the stepfather or whatever is treating the dog, the cop guy. That one particular scene where he's really going after the dog or whatever. Yeah, I had to stop it because I couldn't take it. It's just, and I hate that part in horror movies too, because it's almost in every horror movie there has to be that's the first sign of trouble is when the animal dies, because they just got to build it up.
Yeah, I think there's a lot of people that got turned off from No Country for Old Men for that reason, because it had that scene with the dogs in it, where he has to shoot the dogs.
Yeah.
I don't remember that part actually. I just remember him with the air canister.
Well, it was one of the. Was it?
Was it Llewellyn?
One of the sheriffs or something?
No, it wasn't. It wasn't It was one of the other guys. They were being chased by dogs, and he has to turn around and shoot. They leap at him. He shoots them, the shotgun or something. Yeah. I think that's why it turned on. I had some friends that didn't like the movie, and we suspect they didn't like the movie. Because I think the movie's a really good movie, but we suspect they didn't like it because they were big dog people. Which I am too. It just that stuff don't affect me. It's like in a survival situation, it's me or whatever after me, especially if it's a bear or something. That I grew up in the rural areas, and we have a little bit different.
Yeah.
But
Yeah,
I don't agree with it.
has
I don't agree with non-senseless or I guess needless killing of animals. Like that one governor that got in trouble here recently that was supposedly going to be Trump's vice president or was suspected, and then she was supposedly killed the dog just because it wasn't a good hunting dog or something. So she just killed it, and yeah, everybody that's silly. I've never killed an animal, myself. Like I went hunting once, like back when I was like 13, and I killed a squirrel, and I felt so bad, because it was just being curious. It come up. I was sitting down on the side of a road, and it came hopping up and jumped up on a tree, and he looked around at me, and I shot him, and he was just being curious, and I felt bad after that. I couldn't hunt anymore. Now in a survival situation, I could hunt, if I had to hunt for my survival, yeah, it's a different story. But I don't like hunting for sport.
Yeah, no.
Yeah.
No, I agree for survival because that's what they do as well. They hunt to kill and to survive and everything like that. But for sport, I don't agree with.
Yeah.
Or just I'm a huge animal lover, so I don't agree with a lot of just.
You guys remember that movie? A friend of mine reminded me of it a while ago. He did a review of it. Bronco Juggalo, his channel. Plague Dogs. Remember that? It was an animated movie from the 70s.
I haven't watched it. I have it.
Yeah.
I just bought it recently because.
Oh, really?
So yeah, some other guys were talking about it because it's made by the same guy that did the same. It's not made by, but the book's written by the same guy that wrote Watership Downs.
Yeah, I think the animation style's kind of similar, right? Or maybe that's just because it was around the same time. But
it's supposed to be pretty disturbing, what I understand. I haven't got around to watching it. I just bought it a couple weeks ago or a few weeks ago.
I remember my dad had the paperback book, and I asked him about it, and he explained the synopsis, and it was like terrified me. I was like, whoa.
What's it called? Plague Dogs?
Plague Dogs.
Oh, Plague.
Yeah, it's about some dogs that have the plague or, some type of plague from a laboratory, and they get loose. And I think the book is like told through their point of view. I could be wrong, but.
Yeah, because Watership Downs is told through the animals' point of view.
Through the rabbits, yeah.
Yeah, I heard that one's also kind of like not necessarily meant for children, even though it's a children's, right?
No.
Nope. No. I would say that might be like a PG-13 today in today's standards,
Okay.
So the young kids, no, it's not like, hey, let's watch Little Mermaid and then let's watch Watership Down. You you wouldn't, but maybe older teenagers, maybe. But
okay, yeah, because I think I just recently got a copy of that because I know like it was showing up at Dollar Tree or something like that, and then somebody was talking about it. Because horror and animation are both my two favorite genres, like they're equal. So I was curious about it.
Yeah, Plague Dogs are on Tubi.
Oh yeah, okay.
Yeah, it's on.
Okay.
Tubi.
I might. I'll probably check that out. And that's one something like that. If I saw a used copy of it, I would grab it. Actually, Dollar Tree would be great, but I haven't seen any movies at any of the Dollar Trees around me in a while. So
that really stinks that they got rid of their movies.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know.
It really does.
That was my channel for the longest time. Was mostly Dollar Tree stuff.
Yeah, I was doing Dollar Tree theater, but I like what my friend, our friend Patrick from Have Cheatable View.
Yes.
If any movie that he gets that's less than $1, he now calls Dollar Tree theater. So he gets movies from the library sometimes for 10 cents.
Yeah.
Wow.
He does man. Have Cheatable View. Man, his channel's awesome. He's really good.
Yeah.
Yeah, he gets a lot of interviews with people
Interesting.
Directors, actors, all kinds of crazy stuff. I haven't watched his
Yeah.
channel actually in a while. I need to go in and say hi to him.
Yeah.
I don't watch hardly anything movie related anymore, unless it's something weird. Like
Really?
I like Think Tank. I watch those guys when they're talking. Yeah, because I like to keep movies in my own world, like in my,
That's
so
why
I don't like being I don't like too many opinions coming into anymore into my my world of thinking, at least because I watch at a more leisurely rate anymore. Still buy them at too many, but
Yeah. That's like I saw somebody before I came on was asking about Maxine. I saw the first one. What was the first one?
X.
X. Okay, that's the one I saw. I didn't even see Pearl. You know what? In what, a year, they might all be in one collection together.
Yeah.
yeah.
So
Yeah, I haven't seen Pearl either. I do have it, but I just haven't watched it yet. So, but
I'm not.
But yeah, you're right. That's usually how it goes. It'll be in like one single collection. Just yeah.
They'll probably be up by Black Friday because there was one movie that just came out. If it's already coming out in August, August something.
Oh, the one with Ryan Reynolds and the Imaginary Friends, right?
Yeah, that's already hit. What's the other one? Mad Max Furiosa. That's already on digital now, and that's coming out on the. That's why I think movie theaters are dead now, because people are just waiting a month, or because I'm stunned. I'm absolutely stunned that Inside Out 2 made like over $8.8 billion or something like that, because I figured Disney would just throw it on Disney Plus and that would be it, and I'm stunned. Like, how is Beverly Hills Cop 4 going to make its money back? It cost $150 million.
That's crazy.
I mean, and then they throw it on Netflix. Apparently, it's very good. All of my friends have seen it, but I don't have Netflix. I only got Netflix for the month to watch Godzilla.
I haven't watched it yet. But
you know what? Like, as long as they keep releasing them, like right as soon as they move, like a couple of weeks after they come out of the theater, you keep giving people reasons not to go to the theater. But if you were this studio and everybody else was doing it, what you know what I mean? What would you do? Would you hold it? I don't know. It's a tough question.
The thing you also got to factor into it, Kenny, is like even though it was on Netflix, if it cost $150 million to make it, actually, because they put a normal PR campaign on it, or a advertising campaign.
Right.
And the rule of thumb in Hollywood is you double the budget whenever you factor in advertising. Like so $150 million means it's actually $300 million. And that's how they always factor it. So it has to, but the thing is Netflix, there is no profit to be made because the movie's essentially paid for.
Right.
Because the subscriptions pay for it. Theoretically, I don't see how, but
I don't understand where that.
But,
because they're paying. Yeah. Okay, they paid Eddie Murphy. I don't know how much demand made from the movie.
They're betting on
doing it for $10.
See what happens. So people like what you did for Godzilla, or is that what you saw? Yeah, Godzilla -1. Yeah. What you did, a lot of people do. They'll just get the subscription to see Beverly Hills Cop for a month, and they might make no telling how much from subscribers just doing that. They may make a good chunk of that money back by people just doing that. So I don't know. I don't know how. I don't think anybody really knows.
Yeah, and a percentage might keep it for 6 months, but who knows?
Yeah.
I mean, I've never stopped having it just because I don't watch it a lot, but I occasionally do, and I know it's kind of a waste of money, but I don't know. Yeah, I mean, we all love going to the theaters. Since I've been able to drive, I've been going. That's why getting Twister, the 4K Twister, was Twister throughout the years, buying it in whatever physical media. That's why I've enjoyed getting it, because that's one I always remember, because I remember going to the theater. It was one of the first movies I drove to by myself to see in a theater. And I remember the theater I went to, but it's that's one of those things. I love the theater, but it's something changed after COVID. It just doesn't have the same feeling.
Yeah.
Yeah,
They
so much
ruined
has
it.
changed since COVID. It's unreal.
Yeah.
You know what's funny too is even like Kenny said, going from like a 19-inch TV to seeing Star Wars in the theater was amazing. But a lot of those theaters in the 70s compared to now are kind of crappy.
Oh,
like,
yeah.
I remember, I thought when they said the Force, I thought they were saying the word forest. I was like, what are they talking about? Because a lot of times you can hear the movie in the next theater coming through the walls. Because what they did was they had one theater, and then they chopped it in half and made two to make more money. And then the third phase was the multiplex. So like the Moorestown Mall had 2 screens for a while, for a long time into the 80s. And this sound, and it wasn't great. It was not an ideal viewing experience. But
that was like the Deptford 6. Deptford 6, Dan.
Yeah.
They always had the speakers on the side of the walls. So it was like if we were watching, say, like Indiana Jones, okay, in this theater, the next movie would have, like, I'll say, scenes from a mall, and you could hear Woody Allen if you sat on the end seat, you know what I mean? So it was like, you're like, da, 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 it's like, why am I always going through this with you? It's like, but you could hear that on the other screen,
No.
But it's a shame because I've told you before, the last movie I seen was Guardians 3, and I spent $85 between tickets and popcorn and stuff, and it's like, and then 3 months later it's on Disney Plus, and then you're going to buy a physical copy of it, so it's like, why am I going to spend close to $100, to go to the movies?
Yeah,
I can't imagine families.
Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
No, I was just going to say, I don't know how families are doing it. I mean, it's just rough for everybody, just going to the grocery, So I don't know how a family of 4 goes to the theater at the prices they are. And it's been like that for the movie prices hadn't really changed for the last 10 years. I mean, they're still 22. Well, here they're about 20 for an IMAX or something. You don't have to go to the IMAX. You can spend 10 to go to the regular. But in general, in a lot of your guys' areas, I don't know where Mr. Dan is, but like in the big cities, you're no telling how much you have to pay for an IMAX. You probably pay $30 or $35.
Yeah. Well, now they got like RPX at the Moorestown Mall. Like to see something like Godzilla -1. If you can, are you going to go see it in the RPX? Of course. If you know what I mean. Like for me, if I'm going to the theater, I want the full experience. But I also don't get any concessions or anything, so I do save a little money there. But
don't knock over the phone.
Yeah, we had kids with us, so it was like you're going to get popcorn and drinks,
Exactly. Right.
Yeah,
then
that's
again,
where they always get you at.
Yeah.
I like
going to our drive-in. I like just the nostalgia, and plus you can bring in your own food and your own drinks, and you get to see 2 movies for the price of one. I think it's only $10 to $12 a person. Could be wrong. I don't remember the price, but it's like $10.
Yeah.
Are they still running them this summer, Katie? Because I remember when you and your boyfriend went last year, and you are they still running it this year?
Oh yeah, it's all year long.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, it only closes. I think just when it's raining, even when it's cold out. I think. Oh God, that's every fucking where. Sorry, guys.
Sorry.
But you're in Texas though too, aren't you? So it probably don't get super cold.
No, it can get cold here. It snows here from time to time. Not every single year, just depends. And it does it gets below freezing here. Basically every year. Just the snow and the ice, it all just depends because we have bipolar weather here. So
Now, do they play first run movies there, or do they play like classic movies? Like, do they have like an '80s classic weekend where you go see like Back to the Future and Teen Wolf, or
Yeah, no. I never posted the video, but I did actually make the video. They played Nightmare Before Christmas for the 30th anniversary.
Oh, neat.
They played that at the drive-in, and then they were playing Hocus Pocus as the double feature, and then on because they have 3 screens. On the other screen, they were doing, I think, Nightmare on Elm Street was something else, and then, or it might have been only 2 screens that were open that day. I don't remember, but of course, I had to go and see Nightmare because it was Nightmare Before Christmas. So, and then we also have Alamo Drafthouse. I don't know if you guys have any of those.
Heard of it? Yeah.
Heard of it, yeah.
Yeah, but they have all the classic movies playing all the time. I don't know how much tickets are there, but they also serve like full-blown dinners there.
Yeah.
And have alcoholic drinks, all that kind of stuff too. I've only been there one time to see Bob's Burgers, the movie. I think it was 2 years ago now because it came out on my birthday that year. And they actually had a special menu for Bob's Burgers. So we ordered food and everything too. I think for me and my boyfriend, it was like $80 or something. I think that includes the tip though too. Included the tip. So, but yeah, no, the drive-in is where I always choose to go because, like I said, it's cheaper. You just turn on the radio to the station they say for that screen. Yeah. And then, you could bring in your own food, your own drinks. You could smoke. You can have the radio turned up as loud or as low as you want. You are in control. So much better.
Yeah. Well, with modern cars too, for the most part, your audio experience is going to be pretty high quality,
Right. Yeah.
Yeah, it's going to be pretty decent, high fidelity at least.
Yeah, back in the old days, you would get that. You would reach out and pull that mono speaker in your car.
Yeah, no, it's not that way anymore. You just turn on it to whatever radio station. But that's when we first went up there. That's how I thought. I didn't know how it was going to be set up. But no, now you just turn it to whatever radio station that screen is set at.
Kenny, did you ever go to the drive-in in Pennsauken?
No, the one that I went to was Atco.
Oh, Atco.
Yeah,
wow.
The Atco. Yeah, I was in Blackwood, but I had friends that we went to high school with.
Oh, Blackwood. Okay, yeah.
Yeah, I was in Blackwood, and I went to Camden County Votac.
Okay.
And a lot of my friends were. I know this ain't helping you, Katie or John, but a lot of my friends were in Atco and Palmyra.
Yeah.
And stuff like that. So especially on Fridays, Saturday nights, in the mid '80s, they always used to Atco drive-in. We always had at least 8 people in the car.
That's awesome.
So it's such great memories.
What is that? I always forget the name of it. I used to follow their. I still follow their Instagram, but I never see it come up anymore. But it's in Western Pennsylvania. It's it's got a, but they were just running a lot of old stuff. But they
does it start with a V, like Vandergrift or something like that?
No, it's something else. But they a lot of these guys, some of these collectors have went and done videos there. They have like a horror nights and stuff. They do the typical things in these theaters. But they were kind of known for doing a lot of older vintage movies and things like that.
I think if it's the one I'm thinking of, they would have like Fulci movies and things like that. And I think the idea was you would camp on the grounds too. Yeah,
I think it might. But the cool thing, somebody was it was either talking about it or they did a video about it. But they talked about when they left, when they were leaving, they left it on the radio station so they could, because they left while a movie was still playing. They had to leave during the movie, and they left it on the channel and. They listened to it as far as they could till it faded to a radio station. So yeah.
Did you guys grow up with? Drive-ins were one thing, but the next best thing sometimes were the budget theaters.
Yes.
Do you guys have budget theaters? I know Kenny and I did around here. We had
Echelon Mall.
Echelon Mall had ones.
Yeah.
Well, in Irvine, so I have to just say Irvine. It's Irvine. It's how it's spelled, like Irvine, California. But in Kentucky, everybody pronounces it Irvine. Like it's
Robert
ER. It's like it's ERVIN. but it's we had like a single theater. It was just one theater, and it was one of those that had been there since probably the 30s or 40s, and it was like a one screen theater, and they would have the on the marquee outside, or the coming attractions to be, you'd have one what's coming like 3 weeks from now, and then it would rotate every week to one new movie each week, and we had that a lot during when I was younger, because we didn't have multiplexes in urban. Richmond, where I live here now, it doesn't. They didn't. Yeah, they had one 2 screen, and it was like the university, Eastern Kentucky University, but there was a shopping mall across it. It's not an indoor mall, but it was like in the basement of it. But they had a dual theater complex there, and it stayed open until probably the early 2000s. And I used to go there and see like kind of the more indie movies there at the very end. But we didn't have a lot. Even Lexington didn't really have They had some multiplexes that I saw. They had South Park and North Park. They were just shopping centers, but they each had. And I remember in North Park's where I saw the Transformers movie when it came out. My parents took me to that. South Park stayed open. That South Park is where I remember seeing Pulp Fiction, and I think the last movie I saw there was Hustle and Flow, and then it closed a couple of years because by then all the Cinemark they'd built like 2 or 3 big multiplexes and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Sorry, I bored you with another story.
No, that's interesting. Yeah, I wish they still had those. I guess now what they do is they just bring the old movies. They have special showings at like the multiplexes, like Regal. Like I've seen They Live and Enter the Dragon and Alien.
Oh wow!
In the past couple of years.
No.
So
Nice.
you know. But I guess the budget ones would show movies like that were like 6 months old, right? And so they weren't on video yet because it used to take a long time to get to video.
Yeah.
So you would go and pay like $2. That was like a deal. Like if you had nothing else to do, like that, we would go to the Cinema Theater and watch something.
Yeah, because the Echelon had 2 theaters, and all of them were $2 to get in.
Yeah,
and it was like, and I remember this vividly. They played when it came out of the theaters, Batman Returns, the Michelle Pfeiffer one, and they played Pulp Fiction. And that was like 2 years difference. It was like we went to see Pulp Fiction, and next theater they had Batman Returns. So it was like I remember they were open till I think the last one. That's when they did midnight movies back then too. And I remember we went to see Batman, and then I had heard about this Pulp Fiction movie, and my buddy's like, "Oh no." We seen that at the midnight showing, and there was like 8 of us in there, and then it just started like, getting like bigger and bigger and bigger. So I don't know if that was like they had just like they wanted to test the screen before it went to like Deptford 8 or Deptford 6 or something like or something like that. But I remember we were there. There was 8 people in that theater when we seen Pulp Fiction. Where when we went to see Batman Returns, it was a full theater. So I don't, like I said, I don't know if they were testing it for Deptford 6 or Deptford 8.
Yeah, because it definitely ended up being a big hit too. Because I think my theater was full when I went and seen it, but I can't. That was when I was probably 14 or 15. Because my friend's brother drove us. He could drive, so he was 2 years older. So we were 14 or 15. So we went to it even before we. See, back then you could get into, for the most part, you could get in if you were under 17. If they,
The only one that they ever checked was when Showgirls came out, and you bought them at the ticket counter, and we had 2 New Jersey state troopers at the damn Deptford 8 standing there checking IDs as you went through.
What?
That's the God's honest truth. And they were sitting outside, literally sitting outside. And I said to my brother, I said, Well, I'm glad you're over 21, my friend. Because there's no sneaking in. Because my friends worked at the movie theater, so they would just say, "Hey, you want to go see Can't Hardly Wait today? Go ahead, go ahead. Sneak. Go in. So it was like,
yeah. I remember.
mean, that movie is not that pornographic. I'm not really. I mean, it's
but it was
kind of
so
raunchy,
media.
but not.
It was so media hype, John.
Media
At the
hype.
time.
Yeah. Yeah.
NC-17.
Well, if it
C-mom
would have been any other actress, it would have probably nobody would have cared. But it was like she came from like a
Saved by the Bell.
a teen. He was a teen in a big hit teen comedy television show. So and it was a big deal that somebody like that basically went and done was naked in a movie.
Mm.
Yeah. They even marketed it that way. See Elizabeth Berkley, you've never seen her before.
Yeah.
It's like, I haven't seen her nude. Sure.
Yeah, I missed that episode.
Was that the caffeine pills where she was hooked on the caffeine pills? Did I miss that segment with her and Slater?
Maybe I remember it happening when it happened a couple years ago, but I'd forgot all about Dustin Diamond dying.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'd forgot all about it, and it was pretty. I see somebody made a video about it. Some guy made a video about it, and I forgot all about that.
The little boy from Alf just died yesterday.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. That's a series I need to buy, and I just haven't done it yet. It's not really. I don't know if I really want. I have like the first season I bought a long time ago, and I haven't been able to pull the trigger on it. It's like it's like $60 or something for the.
Oh, I got it at Walmart for $20. But this
full
ain't the
series?
news yeah, it's the whole series, but this is not the one that has all the Mike had like the one with the movies and the animated special. This is just the episodes.
Okay.
This is one they put out a while ago.
Oh. Yeah, I even looked on eBay, and it was still the same price as it was on Amazon. A lot of times you can go to eBay and like on those sets, and they'll have it marked down a whole lot. It'll be sometimes 30% or 40%. I've seen them almost half off sometimes to what they're selling them on Amazon. I think that Dukes of Hazzard set that came out several years ago was like that at like Walmart or something. It was like $80, and I went on eBay, and it was like I got it for like 40, and I think some people had actually got it for 30, 35 or something from some seller.
Mm-hmm.
And
yeah, I got the whole Kung Fu series from Dark Side Records. It's all used.
Yeah,
but it still had the plastic on it. So whoever had it never opened it.
That's awesome.
Wow,
you get a lot of good stuff from that Dark Side Records.
Yeah,
there.
Yeah, I got that Battlestar Galactica set too with the side of the head. Yeah, as soon as I saw that, I was like,
I was at the phone there 3 times.
What is it?
Katie, you there?
I don't know. She texted this, and then I don't know. She might be having some problems there.
Because Sydney asked, what horror movies do you repeatedly watch over and over? So for me, it would be like a lot of the Hammer ones.
Okay.
Yeah, a lot of those, the Frankenstein and Dracula series. I watched those a bunch of times.
Yeah, being new, I watch all the Universal ones, and then Dan's recommended
I know what happened.
A lot of the Dracula ones.
Yeah, I always forget about that. I'm broadcasting on 3 channels, so if any of us comment, it puts it 3 times, like 3 different channels. I don't know why.
Oh.
I thought that just happened for me, but it
weird.
does it for all of us. If we comment in the chat, it'll duplicate it 3 times.
Oh,
yeah.
Interesting.
She must have had some problems there. But I was going to tell. Before you came on, I was showing them the Twister 4K. I don't know if you picked that up yet. And the transfer is really good.
Yeah,
it's excellent.
Mm-hmm.
It looked really, really good because the movie's kind of dark, because you're in a storm pretty much for the most of the movie, and the blacks look really good in it. It looks. And my theory behind it is, you remember several years ago, before Disney bought Fox, that they rumored that they were going to release it on 4K, and then it disappeared after after Disney bought. You know how they Disney were like, well, we're not going to release anything basically
Yeah.
in the backlog. My feeling is Fox probably had it already scanned for 4K, and it just never got released because they did this because Fox scanned A New Hope as well. Like if you watch if you buy the 4K releases of Star Wars, the New Hope is the best of the three originals because Fox actually did the scan for New Hope. Because I think even before the new movies had started coming out, um, uh, who directed? What's his guy who directed the first one? I always forget his name. But he was talking about how he had saw a copy. They played a copy of it. I guess they projected a copy of the 4K for him. Who did that?
Twister.
Oh, Jar Jar Abrams.
Oh, okay.
J.J. Abrams. Call him Jar Jar Abrams.
Jar Jar Binks.
But yeah, he had said that he got to see the 4K like back in like 2013 or 14, for a long time before it actually came out on disc. So I assume that's probably what happened with Twister. They probably Katie, if you're still watching, when you didn't connect correctly whenever you tried to come back in, so I don't know what's going on. But yeah, it looks really good. Looks really good. This looked really good too. I don't know if anybody picked that up. The 4K.
I saw that some people had picked it up, but yeah. I think Seven Samurai's coming out on 4K or something. That was like big news the other day. Yeah.
I picked this up. This is a good movie. I hadn't seen it before, but Last Samurai.
Oh yeah.
I think it may have came out on 4K, but I bought this is just a Blu-ray. There's no need to rebuy it in 4K. I don't think. But
yeah, I think they reduced it. Yeah, I think it did just come out in 4K. I think that's like when you go on Criterion now. I think that's like the first thing you see.
Because I bought this in my Barnes and Noble the other day, and I had no idea. I hadn't looked at what was coming this week, and I just picked this up, which I don't care because I just paid $20 for this one, you know. So the 4K would have been probably 30s still. So, and the transfer's fine on this.
Yeah, I guess I went in too late. I just looked around in Barnes and Nobles. I didn't see hardly anything, Criterion wise, but yeah, I gotta get that movie. Somebody used to have a video on YouTube. Don't you hate it when YouTube does this? It was up there for a couple of years. The soundtrack is awesome. It was the soundtrack, but they took clips from the movie in, and they really did a good job of editing it in all together. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
And then all of a sudden it's gone. Video got taken down. Yeah, and I was like, So now you could just see like a still photo and listen to the soundtrack, which I do sometimes. But yeah. But
what else? I bought too much here lately. Try to get good deals. Like I was showing Kenny, I hadn't actually seen this movie, but Heartbreakers. I had never seen that movie. That's good.
That is a good one.
Kenny, where did it come out in the theaters, or was this like
Heartbreakers? Yeah, that came out and then it died. But I rented it from Hollywood Video.
Yeah, I don't even remember that.
Yeah,
and especially with her in it, I can't believe it because they both look good in the movie. You know, Sigourney and
it's
Jennifer Love
Dan.
Hewitt,
If you don't know, it's like a mother and daughter, trying to doing con on Gene Hackman.
Mm.
So it's pretty funny. There's like one scene where she's on a treadmill.
They're like a mother-daughter gold digging team. You know, they search out wealthy men and con them. You know. Sorry, Kenny.
No, I think that came out the same time as I remember as Super Size Me. I think that's when I rented it. I rented them both. It was like one of those. Remember, like Blockbuster had like you're guaranteed to have like Jerry Maguire. I think they were guaranteed to have Heartbreakers in.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I think that was like one of their they tried to, step up to Blockbuster, to get that. And we went there because it was like only about 3 minutes from my house. On Blackwood Clementon Road, if you're familiar with that, Dan. It was right next to Cherrywood Liquors.
Okay. Yeah, I don't know exactly, but I know about where you mean. Yeah.
Yeah. It was literally right across from the, we used to call it the shop right on the hill, because we had one in Laurel Springs and one in Blackwood. And the shop right on the hill was there from like the 70s. And it's literally like on this big, like, steep hill, So that's why everybody calls it the shop right on the hill.
Now this one, this 4K, I don't know if it's really worth. I mean, animation is generally, it usually don't look much better upscaled. But the problem with this one that I've never really hang on a second. That I've never really noticed before is where it was.
Sorry about that. I was trying to interact with the chat, and then somehow everything just got screwed up. So I apologize.
Okay. It's okay.
Right. Yeah, I'm sorry we didn't quit talking so you could respond to her question.
Oh no, it's okay. I didn't want to interrupt or anything. That's why I was like, I'll just pop into the chat, and then I've never done that before, so that's why I was like, okay, something went wrong. I don't know what the hell is going on.
Yeah.
Well,
I'm always afraid to touch things.
Yeah, I know. I was too, but then I thought it would just be so easy. You just, I just turned the camera off for a second because, of course, I'm doing everything on my phone, and then I click chat so that way I can turn my phone upright and type, but obviously not. So sorry.
Katie, I did recently buy a steel book. I forgot about it. It's a 4K, but I think it was just 20. I think at Point Break.
Oh, okay.
I do like the cover on this.
Yeah, no, that's a nice one.
But my problem with South Park is, I think where it's so highly where the scan was so detailed that you can actually see. Maybe you can do it in others. I've not paid attention to the Blu-ray, but I know you can see the backing. With that, whatever they were backing, what they were putting their cells on to scan it into the into the cameras. I don't know what that equipment's called for scanning stuff into animated cells into the film. But that process, you could see like the backing, whatever was behind those cells, because you could see the little pixel.
Yeah.
And I've never paid attention to that before. Maybe it's like that in South Park always, but I've never paid attention to it. The sound's great. That's another reason I was telling Katie earlier that, that's very impressive about 4K is because you've got really big sound most of the time. Really, they really with all the, it's really, I guess, has to do with they can kind of uncompress the sound. It's not so compressed, the audio, and it really makes it really big, like it would be in the theater. But that's kind of one of those movies. Like I was telling Kenny the other day, there's some movies that I'll buy on any form. I'll buy on all formats. It's not every movie, but I've got probably 5 or 10 movies that I'll buy, like The Big Lebowski. If it, I'll go buy it. Now I'm not going to buy multiple copies of the same format. I'm not going to buy 5 different 4Ks, releases, but I'm gonna buy it on like DVD, Blu-ray, 4K. I even have it on Laserdisc.
Yeah, no, that's what I do with Nightmare Before Christmas. Like I just got the VHS finally for it. So I have it on VHS. I have 2 different DVD copies or Blu-ray copies. I have the 2 different steelbooks for it. Now all I need is a Laserdisc for it, which is expensive. I found someone on Whatnot who was selling a sealed copy of it, but it was $70.
Mm-hmm. Holy shit.
Yeah.
Wow.
So, but that's because everybody is now so obsessed with Nightmare Before Christmas and everything, and it's just like, I wish it would go back to being a niche thing, because I've been in love with it since I was in high school, which is like over 20 years now since I graduated. So, I miss those times, but now it's over.
YouTube has made everything like that.
Yeah.
Well,
Mr.
yeah,
Dan,
no, it's kind of true. Yes,
I
social
collect
media in general.
Mr. Dan collects Hot Wheels, and I collect some. I'm not a super serious collector, but I mean, you can't go to a store; they're wiped out always because people have all these channels on YouTube, and you can't find anything because like certain things are popular, certain cars are popular, and everybody's got to have them. So everybody goes in. If they find 3 of them, they'll take all 3 of them.
Yeah, yeah.
So,
Well, it used to be you would have to go find somebody's 10-minute long video and watch it, but now they're putting shorts up. It's like if you find this car, take it. It's like, okay, thanks.
Yeah.
That's what they do. But you know what else? Helped Nightmare on Before Christmas explode? It was I think Spirit Halloween.
Yeah.
That's when that and Killer Clowns from Outer Space. The last couple of years, I mean, they went all out with those movies.
No, they really have with Killer Clowns and with Beetlejuice, and now with Mars Attacks. Yeah. There used to never be any merchandise for Mars Attacks. Right. But like over the past couple of years with Spirit, that stuff's been blowing up, and it's just it's crazy.
It's weird. It's like like every year there's another 20 or 30 or 40-year-old movie they pick and just
Yep.
Just explodes. Well, I guess some like Killer Clowns. I mean, you do have like 3 different clowns. You got props. You've got guns. It's what I mean. There's things in the movie, and same with Nightmare Before Christmas and everything. There's a lot of characters, so that helps. I don't think we're ever going to go into Spirit of Halloween and see like a whole bunch of tourist trap stuff.
I'm really surprised they didn't do it with Willy's Wonderland.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. Because what is it? Five Nights at Freddy's or whatever? How big that blew up. I mean, I've never played the game. I still haven't even watched the movie yet. But Willy's Wonderland, I love that movie.
I like that one better. I like Willy's.
Yeah, I did too.
Yeah. It's just it was what it was, like it was.
I didn't you all seen Willy's Wonderland, right? I didn't understand the soda aspect.
Yeah, like why was he pounding them?
Why was he pounding the sodas all the time? And they always caught him like throwing it into the wastebasket every time. So I was like thinking, okay, it's going to pay off with something coming out of the wastebasket with the with the cans, but it never did. All he did was change his shirt all the time.
Right.
My headphones disconnected all of a sudden.
Okay.
For no reason. I didn't lose power on them. They just decided to disconnect.
Yeah, I always thought that was going to be like paid off. So I was like thinking there's going to be a Funko pop of the soda, the soda can or something like that,
Yeah, I don't know. That was weird. I just found it more enjoyable. I mean, I didn't think Five Nights at Freddy's was bad, but everyone else just was like raving about it when I saw it. Maybe if I watch it again, I'll like it a little more.
Maybe that's like one that we'll have to sit and watch again because I enjoyed Willy's Wonderland better.
Yeah,
I thought it had a kind of better story, but that's one of those things again. Do you think that they were both in pre-production at the same time?
Oh, I don't know.
Oh, what about Banana Split?
I was just gonna say.
Yeah,
I love that movie so much.
I haven't seen it yet. The funny thing is, my older son got obsessed with that show. Like he never saw the show; he just got obsessed with the opening theme song. Because I showed it to him on YouTube once.
Yeah, there was in the 90s. Do you guys? I don't know if you remember, but there was a soundtrack that came out in the 90s that they basically got bands of the era that did Saturday morning cartoons. It was called Saturday Morning Cartoons Greatest Hits.
Yeah.
And that was one of the.
Yeah, there's a video.
Drew Barrymore hosted it with her
VHS.
friends.
Yep.
I rented it. Drew Barrymore was on it. So
yeah, we would put it on at the video store all the time.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, Bugaloos, all those.
Yes.
Sigmund the Sea Monster. Yep.
Sid and Marty Krofft Saturdays.
What's your favorite movie in the drama, mystery, suspense, thriller?
Thrillers are good. I love thrillers and suspense. All of those, actually.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Suspense. My personal favorite, 3 Days of the Condor.
Is what? 3 Days on the Moon?
No,
Condor.
3 Days of the Condor with Robert Redford and Max von Sydow. And
Oh,
Faye
okay.
Dunaway. I'm telling you, after you, because I was busted on one of my friends. I said, now you'll know why you want to go out for takeout food after the first 10 minutes of that movie.
Yeah, I've never seen that one. I don't think I own that one either.
Okay, that's really good. I don't know where I bought it on the last Kino sale. It was like $9.98 or something, like $9.99 or something. Yeah. But I had Brennan. That was like one of the ones that I had on VHS that I watched like relentlessly. It's
okay.
Good.
Yeah, that's one. Like if it came on TV, my dad would watch it. I probably watched it with him at least 2 or 3 times. I remember showing it came on TV when I was in college. Me and my buddy sat there and watched the whole thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, political thrillers. That was another big thing in the 70s, you know.
Oh yeah, All the President's Men.
Yeah, all those kind of things. That was a good
one.
What
was that one that I just watched it. It was on the Kino sale, but I didn't buy it because I seen it on the Tubi. It's with James. See, I didn't know James Colburn was a leading man. You know, and I just it'll come to me. If I don't, I'll just leave it on the message. It's like the Encino.
Oh, the Internecine Project.
That's it. Yes.
Strange title. Good. I had never heard of that either, and that's when I found it on YouTube. I watched it. I was like, "Holy!"
That's
shit.
where I think I seen it on your channel, Dan.
Yeah, and then I found it on Kino. I was like, "Yoink!" For less than $10. It was like, "Heck yeah!"
Great movie.
What a concept. Of course, I love the way that you couldn't make that today.
Oh.
Because he has to use a regular landline to do his plan. And everyone has a different set of instructions. You have to let it ring 3 times before you pick up. You have to let it ring 2 times. You know, cell phones would just ruin that whole plot.
Exactly. Who was the girl? Mel, the woman in that. Man, she was gorgeous.
Yeah,
I only seen her when she was like older, in the 80s and 90s.
Yeah.
No, I gotta look that up. I can't remember the woman, but man, she was really gorgeous in that movie.
God,
how about you, Katie? What do you got?
I think they're considered more thriller mystery ones. Is like 7, right? Those are thriller mystery suspense ones.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. 7 and Taking Lives, like the cop drama ones that they almost kind of lean towards horror a little bit, especially 7 because of how gruesome some of those crime scenes or the way he kills them are. And also Horseman. Have you guys seen that one with Dennis Quaid?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
It was pretty good.
Yep. For drama stuff, shit. I can't even think right now, honestly, of just like straight up drama ones. Like would Green Mile and like Shawshank Redemption count as drama?
Yeah, I would think so.
Yeah, with little fantasy element in one of them anyway. But yeah.
Oh, What's Eating Gilbert Grape?
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Lee Grant was the woman, by the
way. Lee Grant, yeah.
Lee Grant.
Yep.
Boy, was she a looker back then.
Yeah. Now, I got something from Kino. You know, I was looking at Kino. Donald Sutherland just passed. So I saw they had this movie, and I never heard of it. It's called A Man, a Woman, and a Bank. It's about a bank robbery. It's looks like it's like kind of a comedy. Donald Sutherland and Brooke Adams. That's right around the time when she was in Invasion of the Body Snatchers.
Yeah.
The Dead Zone. I always liked her. So I was like, you know what? It wasn't expensive. So I got it. I have no idea. Could be a gem like Silent Partner. I hope so, but I really don't know.
Yeah.
I had to look the name up. I'm sorry.
No,
real quick, but it's a JFK assassination movie. It came out in '73, and I'm big, I do a lot of reading in that subject matter, but I never had heard of this one, and it's really good. It's called Executive Action. Has Burt Lancaster
Oh,
in
Burt
it, Robert
Lancaster.
Ryan.
Mhm.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, and it was a good one. It takes more of the line that it was kind of set up by, high power businessmen than more of the government involvement. But there's it kind of there is a government element to it that these businessmen they're talking to people in higher government, but it kind of goes through the training of the assassins and everything, and it's a pretty interesting movie. There's another one too I bought at the same time. It's really good. That it's not a JFK movie, but it's another assassination of a high, like a governor or something. But it's another really good movie. And I can't think. I have it, but I haven't I can't remember the name of it off the top of my head.
Yeah, it seems like Burt Lancaster was in a bunch of those.
Yeah.
I found this at Dollar Tree. This was one of the better Dollar
Yeah.
Tree finds I found. I'd never heard of this.
Good movie.
Yeah, Burt Lancaster, Elaine Delon, who's in Les Samurai. This was a heck of a movie.
Yeah.
I mean, it's got that kind of 70s pacing to it a little bit, but I really liked it,
You know what? It's funny because since I been on Whatnot, they have like a lot of the older movies, which I kind of lean back and go into, and because I'm not really much into the new, because I don't think Hollywood now is like really putting out anything good. So,
Yeah, Nightcrawler is an awesome movie. Thank you, Sydney.
Nightcrawler, yeah.
Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
that's a good movie. Yeah.
see,
I really want to see that one. I haven't watched it yet. I don't even know if I actually own it yet, but I know Jake Gyllenhaal is a hell of an actor.
Yeah, I've never seen that one before.
Yeah, Jake Gyllenhaal works for Jake Gyllenhaal, he's kind of I don't know
like
what
photographer or journalist or something, right?
No, he starts out as just that's what he becomes. He becomes essentially a paparazzi. But he becomes somebody. He's not after celebrities. He's like I guess night callers are guys before YouTubers. The YouTubers do it now, but they go out and look for accidents and they look to sell footage to the news channels essentially.
Oh, okay.
But he didn't. That's not at the beginning of the movie. He's just like he's like seemingly like an autistic guy who's just trying to find work, but he's kind of smart, and he runs upon an accident scene and he sees these guys doing it, and he decides he wants to do that too. So it's like kind of him starting his own business and slowly. And who's the woman in that?
Renee Russo.
Yeah, Renee Russo. She's like the station. Not the station manager. She's I don't know. She's the person in charge of buying the videos and stuff like that. And so he has a relationship with her. It's a good movie.
It's a shame she never became like really class A, because she was great in the remake of Thomas Crown Affair with Pierce Brosnan. Mm-hmm. I just don't understand why she never got like really big.
Yeah. I don't know. I think she kind of started. She was like in her 30s when she really started, though. So I don't know. Maybe.
Oh, wasn't she a fashion model?
Yeah, she was in modeling. Yeah, for sure. Yeah.
Mr. Brooks is such a great movie.
That's a good one.
What is his name? Kevin Costner.
Kevin Costner.
Yeah.
Oh God, he does such an amazing job, and I don't know who plays the other side of him.
Dane Cook.
Who? Dane Cook?
Oh, well.
Dane Cook. Oh.
Yeah, well, he was the young guy.
He was the young guy.
No, who plays the other side of Mr. Brooks? Of Kevin Costner.
William Hurt. William Hurt.
Oh yeah.
Okay. Yeah, him. The way they do that, and then his daughter. That was like at the end when she starts to become like him or whatever it was, or has some kind of psychopathy issue too. Like, wow, that whole movie was just greatly done.
Never heard of Wind River before.
Yeah, that's
Isn't that a Kevin Bacon movie or something like that?
No, that's Jeremy Renner and John Bernthal.
What am I
Oh,
thinking?
River Wild, I think, is the one you're thinking of with Meryl Streep and Kevin Bacon. That's a good one too. That one, my
Meryl
dad
Streep.
actually introduced me to that one.
John Barinhall,
Yeah,
he's one of my favorite actors.
He's good. Yeah,
he is so good. My uncle got me in watching the series he did with Ian McShane. Oh God, I can't. American Gods.
Oh yeah, no, I think all three of them, but I only watched I think the first one. But yeah, that was really good. I got really
Holy
into
hell,
it.
is he awesome in that? And plus, I like him. I like him in Halo too. But he was the best Punisher too. I love that series.
And that's like when I saw that he was going to be the Punisher, I was like, oh, he's going to be the Punisher. Like like I wouldn't have never thought of it, but as soon as I saw the first episode, I was like, oh, this works pretty well. You know, yeah.
I love that because people go Marvel, and I'm like, my nieces are like really into Marvel. They, Marvel can't do any wrong, but I watch.
They can do plenty of wrong these days.
Okay, well, I'm just saying.
Probably as a kid's perspective. I'm just kidding with you, Kenny.
Yeah, and I said you guys got to watch the Punisher. So they watched Daredevil and Punisher, and they like those two better. I like the darker ones. Like I like Jessica Jones.
Yep.
And I really, because of Haley Atwell, I love Agent Carter.
Wait, Shane from Walking Dead. Which one does he play? Is it Daredevil or Punisher?
Punisher.
Punisher?
Yeah, John Barry.
Okay.
Yeah,
that's what I thought, but then I was thinking, wait, no, is it Daredevil instead? I couldn't remember.
Mm-hmm.
What's his name?
John Bernthal.
Yeah, John JON BERETHAL.
John Bernthal.
Yeah, just look up one American Gods on there. He played.
Okay, I was like, oh yeah, I forgot he's in American Gods too.
Yeah, he's
amazing.
Watch him in Punisher. Let me tell you, that show is fantastic.
that
the
first
man
scene
who wasn't there is good.
The first scene where he comes into the hospital with his shotgun and wastes somebody, and then it's just like, holy shit! Like that was the Punisher right there. Like.
I love when he goes into. I think it's season 2. The girls in that they get. He gets from the club in the motel.
Yeah.
And they just tear up the motel. She goes, "Who the hell are you?"
Right.
He goes, "Get in."
Mystic River. What's the name of it?
Mystic River's a very good one.
The Man Who Wasn't There, that's a really good movie, but it's a very like nobody's hardly seen it hardly, and it's a Coen
I
Brothers.
never even heard of that.
Oh yeah.
It came out in the early 2000s, but it was very overlooked.
I saw it, but it's funny because I haven't thought about it in years.
So
it has it has this weird like extraterrestrial thing in it, doesn't it? It's like this weird. It's like.
Oh, I don't remember that, but I know they did that in one season of Fargo too. They had a random UFO that just kept showing up.
Yeah.
And the rest of the plot had nothing to do with that. The one guy lost track of 5 hours. He was like, "What the hell happened?"
Yeah, it's actually on my checklist. You can see it checked right there, but it's not on any streaming. You have to pay for it.
What's that?
The Man Who Wasn't There. I've never even heard of that before, so it's on my checklist right now.
Yeah, I have the DVD, but I don't think it's ever been released to Blu-ray. I could be incorrect. I could be incorrect about that, but it was. I think it came out in between, It's
2001. You were right about that.
So that would have been in between.
Now, is Dragged Across Concrete really good?
I'm not sure. I just got that. But I think, I don't know if it's that one that's really good, or if it's the Cell Block in '99 with Vince Vaughn that's really good, or if it's both of them.
Okay, is Dragged Across Concrete, is that the one with Mel Gibson? Because I did see one with Mel Gibson and Vince Vaughn, where they were two cops.
I put them all away, so I can't look at it.
That's why I keep my phone here to do.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Mel Gibson and Vince Vaughn. Yep. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that is really good. Okay, so a sub block that I haven't seen. Yeah, Dragged Across Concrete is real. I didn't know the because I've been like watching a lot of Mel Gibson movies, especially when I had the Netflix. If you have the Netflix, go on the line with Mel Gibson. That's
On the
really
Line?
good. On the Line.
Okay.
He plays
From
sort
Dusk
of
Till Dawn.
Yeah.
Yes, that is one of my. The beginning part actually. I know this sounds kind of weird because I am a horror fan, but I actually like it better with the beginning part before they turn into vampires. I like the part with George Clooney and Quentin Tarantino and just their interaction with the family and stuff. I actually like that part better than when they turn into the vampires and all the chaos starts. I don't know why exactly, but I think I just like their chemistry together as the family and the kidnappers and stuff. Yeah. It's still good. It's still good, the vampires and the fighting and everything. It's just, I don't know what it is. That's just my opinion, though.
Yeah, it almost seems like the beginning's kind of written by Tarantino more than Robert Rodriguez. The kind of with the character interactions.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Which, and I don't think I'm not sure if he did any writing for it. I can't remember. Did he co-write that?
I don't know, because it's a Robert Rodriguez movie, right?
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know if
I can't remember, even though I've got a computer here and I can look it up. But
yeah, he might have been like one of the ghostwriters on it.
Yeah.
For Rodriguez, but it was like a tale of two movies. It was very, very weird. But hey, the nightclub scene with Salma Hayek, I think everybody remembers that.
Yeah, that's a good 3 Billboards Outside Ebbing, Missouri.
I haven't seen
that's
it yet.
Coen Brothers as well.
Yeah, I never seen that.
I haven't seen that one yet.
I think that's Coen Brothers, isn't it?
I'm not sure. I know it has Frances McDormand in it, but I don't know.
I've seen it, but everything runs together. That's why my memory.
Yeah, that's
movies.
why
I've seen so movies. I don't know.
Now, what's your favorite Coen Brothers movie?
Me?
All the
everybody.
Mine's Blood Simple.
That's a good one.
I'm not even sure which movies are theirs, to be honest.
Seen The Big Lebowski, haven't you? Yeah.
Barton Fink would be second.
Yeah, that's a good one too.
I like Miller's Crossing a little more than Barton.
Oh yeah, Miller's Crossing. Yeah, that's awesome.
Another good one.
Yeah, that is a really good one.
You've listed all the good ones, so I don't know enough now.
I haven't seen any of those.
You almost have to rank there. You almost have to do like a era. What era is your favorite movie of theirs? Because you got the 80s, and then you got the 90s. And...
Yeah, the one that always gets forgotten about them is Hudsucker Proxy. I love that movie.
Oh yeah,
that was so good.
Yeah,
it was Katie. That was with a young Tim Robbins and Paul Newman, and it's about the invention of the hula hoop.
Which one was it?
Hudsucker Proxy.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, I don't. They did Fargo too, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah. I still haven't actually seen Fargo.
Fargo's excellent.
You betcha.
I don't know what my favorite movie. I mean, The Big Lebowski is pretty much an amazing movie. I'm not saying it's my favorite. It's just, I mean, everything that we've listed is equally as good. You know, it's hard to.
I have a lot of them. I just haven't watched them yet.
Mm-hmm.
Raising Arizona is awesome.
I fell asleep during Star Wars, the first Star Wars.
Shut up.
I know, blasphemy. I know.
With me it is.
Joe never lets me forget it. Wow. But I do have them all, and I want to rewatch them all together. But yeah, so.
I'm not kidding you. I watched the first 3, especially, at least once a month. Maybe even with Star Wars, I watch it. I just got done watching Star Wars yesterday, as a matter of fact. I was just doing something. It's like it's like a comfort movie. You put on comfort, you know it, and it's just like you sit back and you just enjoy it. I feel like I'm 7 years old again. What in the theater with my mom watching it all over again.
No, I totally get that. I have those movies too. I mean, like Lion King and Titanic, but those are sad movies also, so I don't actually watch them all that often because I still want to feel the emotion that those movies give you. So I can't watch them all the time. But yeah, those are comfort movies for me.
I asked one of my friends, and this was supposed to be like a joke, but people took it personally. Again, before it was like the biggest villain, Jenny from Forrest Gump or Rose from the Titanic. Hold on, Jack. Hold on. And then he slowly. It's like pull the dude's arm up, stupid.
I know.
And I thought Jenny was the most evil person in the movies. What she did.
There's like a conspiracy theory. It goes around. They talk about it about the actual Titanic sinking, not so much around the movie. But I was just thinking about this. They were talking about it the other day on one of the channels I watch. But they were talking about how in 1913, that's when the Federal Reserve was started. And the Federal Reserve is pretty much why our economies went downhill for the past 100 years, because it's not federal. It's the Federal Reserve is Federal Express. It's owned by private banking interests, and we borrow money from them, and that's what drives up interest, and it's drove up interest ever since. So there's a thing that there was a bunch of people on the Titanic who were the people resisting, a bunch of high end, like rich people and people in important positions are on the Titanic that were resisting the institution of the Federal Reserve, or the instating of the Federal Reserve, excuse me. And it's just a conspiracy theory, but it's interesting because it just so happens to happen at the same time. But it's a fun one. I like some of those whenever there's some actually.
I've never heard that one, but that's crazy.
Yeah, it's an interesting one.
Aren't there a lot of the ones that survived though were the rich ones?
Probably, but I don't know who. I don't know really who survived.
Yeah,
I mean, it was a mixture of everybody because where there was pretty much a giant ship. The ship pretty much failed. The whole superstructure failed.
Yeah, and I just got
more than likely
from
not.
Like the 30s or whatever that's called, that has the same name, Titanic, and I didn't know there was ever any other movie just named Titanic other than the Cameron one. Mm-hmm. So that was pretty cool that I found that.
What was the Titanic sister ship?
Oh, Britannic?
The Olympic.
The Britannic?
Yeah.
The Olympic and the Britannic.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, there was two. I forgot. Well, there's another. That was the one. It was on my mind. So the Olympic. I think it was the Olympic, but the Olympic and Titanic were almost identical ships. And there's another conspiracy, and I think it's been disproven. These subject matters just interest me. I don't necessarily believe them. I don't believe these things, but they're interesting. But there was a conspiracy. There's a theory out there that during sea trials, the Titanic, it had a collision with another boat and was damaged, and they actually switched the names of the Titanic and the Olympic, and it was actually the Olympic that sunk, not the Titanic, because they said they changed everything out, the names plus all this, everything inside that had it. They did like a very quick changeover of everything. It's just a thing, but it supposedly had had a collision with another boat, and it damaged it so it couldn't have its maiden voyage. So they switched everything with the Olympic, and it became the Titanic and the Olympic. Yeah, so it's kind of an interesting theory. That stuff's been disproven, but it's just it's interesting.
Yeah, I thought the Titanic was like slightly bigger, but I don't know.
It might have been.
Yeah.
I'm not sure. I can't remember the dimensions of all of them, but
Yeah, I
it's
thought that was
possible.
like the Titanic thing that was like the biggest ship
Yeah.
or whatever at the
Yeah.
time or something.
Yeah,
I
I
don't
think all three of them were built at around the same time, and they're all like kind of similar. They're a similar class of ship for the era. So yeah.
Oh, okay.
So, but yeah, I think the Titanic was probably slightly big. There was not enough difference for that to possibly have happened. You know, for nobody to know the difference between
Right. Yeah.
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 Just such a
But,
tragedy what happened. I mean, so
Yeah.
many just
Yeah.
seems like little mistakes that could have changed what happened. But
Yeah.
I mean, yeah.
Yeah, it's an interesting story. I mean, the Titanic still, it's still killing to the day.
Right.
That was a bad joke, those people. That was horrible. That'd be a horrible way to die, to have a high pressure implosion like that.
That actually, like,
I mean, you wouldn't know it. I mean, it would
Yeah.
be like it blowing up in a rocket or something,
but that actually made, I didn't know anything about it until obviously the story happened. But just watching the footage of the CEO of that company talking bragging about his submarine, boy, that just pissed me off.
Yeah, I know. He's using a freaking game controller. Like, are you kidding me?
Yeah, and the reporter's like, "Is that a game controller?" And they're like,
"Yeah."
It's like,
I don't know. This?
Yeah, I would hope. Who knows? But first of all, I'm not interested in doing anything like that in 1,000 years. But if somebody wanted to drag me in, I hope that I would have enough common sense to look around and say, something's off here. This is the only one of these submarines. This guy's full of himself. I'm out of here. I don't know. I hope they. I did spend a night on the Battleship New Jersey, though, once, Kenny. Me and my older son.
Really?
Yeah, they had it with one of the radio stations. They had a sleepover thing where you could stay over overnight, and then they had some activities the next day. They had like some of those almost like video games, like flight simulators and things like that.
What was that like?
It was pretty cool. Well, it's crazy, man. They said in the 70s they had a commission that listened to the sailors and everything, and the sailors was like, they had like a list of complaints. Obviously, they're going to complain. They're like, yeah, there's no room, as you can imagine. So we're staying in the advanced quarters, the updated quarters, and still you're sleeping. The ceiling's like.
Oh man.
They're like, if there's a fire drill, do not sit right up. They're like, they actually, when we had a fire drill, because you're gonna, you got to go down and sleep in an enclosed area. But it was wild. And then they had there's like I don't know, 4 or 8 bunk beds, and then there's like a little common area with a couple tables that have like checkerboards printed onto them and stuff, and that was like their chill out area. Yeah. And it was like, man, there's not a lot of room at all.
Yeah, I've heard from many. They make the Navy seem really glamorous, and it's not that glamorous. Especially like submarine. If you like, I've worked with some guys who were former, sub guys, and it just sounds awful. Like for one, you're under, you're down for a long time. When you go down, they stay down for a long time, weeks at a time. Then when you come up at a port, it's not like they come up at a port and you can go in town and do everything. Usually they make you stay there, and you're like doing maintenance you got to do maintenance on or cleaning the sub or something. It's not very glamorous at all. I mean, it's a job. It's not supposed to be necessarily glamorous, but I mean, it's like they make it seem like it's, they make it seem like it's a more whenever they advertise to it, but it's supposed to be. And I would say living on a aircraft carrier, even the new ones are probably, because they got to have so many people on them, so it's probably pretty much the same situation.
Like a whole town.
Yeah.
I saw, remember the movie, The Boat, the German movie?
Mm-hmm.
I saw that in the theater when they brought it back and added 45 minutes to it.
Oh, wow.
That was that was already a long movie. They had an intermission and everything. But being in the theater, it was wild. Like the sound effects, like they went when they had to dive down so deep to avoid the depth charges, the rivets were popping out. And so you could hear it sounded like the rivets were like going like all around you, like ting, ting, ting. It was pretty wild.
Wow.
Well, this was crazy. You remember Down Periscope?
Yeah.
The comedy. You know how they get stuck in that diesel sub, and when they dive deep, they put that string up, and it like it starts sagging in the middle, where the ship's pushing, the walls are pushing in, where the high pressure is. And like when I was in the theater, there was this older guy behind me, and he was like, "Yep," he's like, "Yep, that's how it was." He was like, he would been in one of these subs. He's like, "Yeah, that's." I heard him comment to, I guess, his wife or something, but he's like, "Yeah, that's how it was."
No thanks.
Yeah. Now these new nukes, they don't do that stuff. You know, they're very heavily built, but yeah. But they're but they've had some crazy accidents, like the Russian Navy. They lost a sub that sunk to the bottom, and like, you know, those guys, they think probably lived for a while before they finally, you know, they couldn't rescue them because it was too deep in the Black Sea. Mm-hmm. You know, it was so deep they didn't have anything to be able to rescue them.
Wow.
Yeah, no, that stuff's terrifying. I watch all those videos of like horrible accidents and stuff like that, and that is just terrifying. Like the story of the guys who got sucked into that pipe, and they were actually all still alive. One of them was able to crawl out to the other side, but then like his 4 other coworkers or whatever were left in there, and they did nothing to get him out because they couldn't or they wouldn't.
I don't know, what was that?
It was some oil rig. I'll have to look it up to find the actual name of it. But yeah, it was some oil rig. But that's such a heartbreaking story too, because he had his like a GoPro or some kind of something where their cameras were actually still going in the tube, in the pipe that they were in, and you can hear them talking to each other, making sure everybody's okay. Everybody was banged up, but they were all still alive. And the one guy who got, you know, in front when they were sucked in, he was able to make it out to the other side to try to get air tanks, try to get help for the other guys, and the company did nothing to save him. And the other guy was so heartbroken, of course, because, you know, he was able to make it out and the other ones weren't. So
I don't know if you remember it, Katie, but you guys remember Baby Jessica?
Oh yeah.
Do you know that story from the 80s? It's from the 80s, like mid 80s is when I was young.
Oh no.
There was a baby. Some people had like an old well. It was like just a small pot in their backyard, but it was open, and this
I think I've heard of the story, but she fell wasn't down around when it happened, I don't think.
But they got her out. They dug down and cut the pipe open and was able to get her out, though. But I mean, claustrophobia is one probably. I'm scared of heights, and I'm not necessarily claustrophobic, but that kind of stuff does kind of freak me out, like being, you know.
Yeah, no, for sure. In a situation like that, absolutely.
Yeah. Probably everybody's fear. They believe, they believe why humans are afraid of the dark is because of Neanderthals. Because we didn't, like Homo sapien and Neanderthal we didn't come from Neanderthals. We came from a different line of humans, a different line of. But they believe we're afraid because the Neanderthals were. They don't know 100%. They think they might have been shorter than us, but they were essentially upright walking apes. They had ape strength. They were strong, mean. They were nocturnal, so they hunted at night, and that's when they would attack humans, is at night. And they think that's why we were. And eventually, we beat them out because we were smarter in general. We hunted in packs. which they did too. But I mean, it kind of came down to a food chain. We don't know 100%. Science pretends like they know a lot, but they really don't. But this is the stuff they theorize about. But they believe that's why we have a fear of the dark, is because of Neanderthals hunting us. And they were nearly as smart as we were too, but they were nearly but they were extremely strong. They were like, apes are really strong. They like if you take the fur off an ape, he looks like freaking Mike Tyson. He's just like they're jacked. They've got, I don't know, they got like 10 times the strength as a human does. Like even a little small ape can rip a human apart.
Yeah.
Like a small monkey or something. Like that's why they're really dangerous to have. Like a chimpanzee.
Oh yeah, I know that one story of that woman who owned that chimp and tore her friend's like face off and everything. Yeah, no. Yeah. Like there's just some animals. Like you gotta respect that their nature is not to be with humans or not to be pets of humans, I guess maybe.
Yeah, I think that actual chimpanzee, I think that was a chimpanzee that had been in like movies and stuff, show business. And then
could have been, I don't remember, but yeah, she had him since he was like a baby, and he was really like her son.
Yeah,
like he was treated like a human, and I mean, I get the connection and everything we do. I do that with my cats and stuff. I talk to them like they're my babies and stuff, but with chimps, with certain kind of wild animals, like with tigers, with bears, those kind of animals, like, they're like, you can feel a connection and everything, but you can't ever forget that they are wild animals for a reason. They have certain instincts no matter what kind of connection you feel with them. And what I hate is that if they attack you, they're the ones that are going to get in trouble. They're the ones that are going to get killed.
Yeah.
And I hate that because that's not fair.
Yeah, that police officer had to shoot the chimpanzee and he had to go to counseling about it. And then he had people, harassing him online because he shot a chimpanzee. Like, it wasn't like he went out hunting for chimpanzees. I mean,
honestly, he really had no choice.
Yeah.
But at the same time, that whole situation never should have happened in the first place. I mean, it's just tragedy all around.
Yeah, because it had even gotten out a few times before, and it cost the police like hours of their time.
Yeah.
It's like, but John, you make me want to watch, talking about Neanderthals and Cro-Magnon, you want to make me watch Quest for Fire again.
Yeah. One person put it as that Neanderthals, they were strong enough to take on a lion head to head and rip it to shreds. That's how big and mean Neanderthals were.
That's crazy.
A lot is wrong about the way history talks about our past, but because when you look at the past, especially when you get into like beyond 10,000 years ago, we had larger creatures on the planet. Like after I just don't want to get into it because you get into like the Younger Dryas impact theories and stuff like that. What caused the biblical Great Flood was probably real. It wasn't a global flood like it talks about in the Bible, but it was essentially a comet or an asteroid striking the during the last ice age, the North American continent, and then basically the whole top of the globe was covered by a massive ice sheet, and it was like a couple miles thick. But they hypothesizing that a comet struck it and caused it to instantaneously melt, and it caused a deluge of water. Because if you look at the Northwest, you can see proof of it, because there's the way the landscape, I'm not a geologist, but geologists have looked. They in the last couple of decades they've been studying it, but the thing is before then the North American continent had like gigantic. It's called megafauna.
Yeah.
And megafauna are just creatures. We're megafauna, but they had big. But you had big woolly mammoths, but you had dire wolves, you had saber-toothed cats, and these things were huge. And you had long-faced bear, and you think bears are scary now. A long-faced bear is probably 3 times the size of a bear. It looks like a horse and a bear combined. Big long legs, could run really fast, huge. So humans couldn't really exist very successfully alongside a lot of this stuff. We did, but you also got to think that you had to have a creature there that could compete with these things, and like the Neanderthal makes sense. See, and they believe that's the reason why all these creatures died out too. They say, well, we overhunted them. We were overhunting them. Yeah, we were going out and overhunting long-faced bears and dire wolves and stuff like that. No.
Yeah.
They were wiped out in one because see, they found like woolly mammoths that were not only frozen, but they were simultaneously burned at the same time. And they hypothesized that it's possible that whatever asteroid or comet struck the Earth, it was so big that it actually ripped a hole in the atmosphere temporarily, and things were simultaneously burned and frozen at the same time from the cold of space and then the burning from the entry of the whatever object hit. That's one hypothesis. Another guy has a hypothesis called a micronova, because we know there was mass burning at one time, because you find this layer of silt, the ash all across it's in the same layer all across Earth. So we know there was mass burning of something in the 10,000 year, 10 to 11,000, 12 year range. So we know something massive happens, and by a lot of people's theories, we're starting to believe that maybe there was other civilizations that's been wiped out, and we just don't know about them because there's been such massive change on Earth. It just wipes everything out, and it like resets the Earth. We don't know, because that's strange. I'm sorry I went into all this and got away from movies, but I don't get to talk about it with anybody very much. That's had to.
No, you're good. It's interesting, that's for sure. Like, I always think to myself, like, something had to have happened within the past 150 or so years for us to have gained all of this knowledge and technology that we have now, because for thousands and thousands of years we didn't have anything, and then all of a sudden now we have cars, we have electricity, we have now cell phones, the internet, and we're just keep getting more and more technically advanced. Like, what happened? How did we all of a sudden, just out of nowhere, come up with just such incredible advancement?
Yeah, it almost seems like, I know there is there's some movies, Quest for Fire and other movies. I remember seeing that movie 10,000 BC on a plane once. It's kind of like a plane movie.
Yeah.
But it was good, but it almost seems like there's more. There's a couple other. There's another dozen movies you could make in that time period.
Yeah.
Because you guys know I like Hammer movies, but the Hammer caveman movies are not. They're not that good.
But goofy. They see, we're starting to find. There's you can look it up. There's a lot of videos been made with some guys that do really good research. But there's a place in Turkey called Göbekli Tepe and Karahan Tepe, and they've been carbon dated to 12,000 years ago, or I think it's a range between 9 to 12,000. For the first, Göbekli is like around 9,000, 9 to 10,000 years old, and Karahan, which is a new site, is around 12. And they're megalithic structures, essentially, way before, when they thought we humans were just hunter-gatherers. So all that stuff's just been found with, I think it was originally found in the 90s. And that's the stuff I get into watching these guys who go around and there's been people, go to Egypt, and they start, the people that's been in Egypt, they're like, the archaeologists been there. They don't. It's like they're like gatekeepers or something. They only want and the Egyptian government wants it too. They want it to be Egyptian, and I think a lot of the stuff in Egypt was made, especially the Great Pyramids and Sphinx was there way before the first dynasty. And see, that's the thing about them. The first dynasty in Egypt supposedly built the pyramids, but everything that came after that was much crappier.
Right.
Yeah. It was copies of what they had done.
Yeah.
And the Sphinx, like there's a geologist called, his name is Robert Schoch, and he went to Egypt in the 90s, and he looked at the Sphinx, and he's like, well, that looks like water erosion on the Sphinx. He's like, how do you have that much water erosion in the desert? And every time the Sphinx has been found, it was found back in, the Sphinx was found back in the during the dynastic times. It was rediscovered. It was rediscovered during the dynastic Egyptian time, and it was buried in sand. The last time there was water, any kind of rainfall to amount to anything, was 10, 12,000 years ago in Egypt. And clearly the Sphinx the head's been recarved. It was probably originally a giant lion. It more than likely, because the head don't match the size of the body.
Oh, right. Yeah.
And the head is obviously has less weathering on it than the body does. So it was recarved in later time. And a lot of people believe that all the Egyptian writing on stuff is simply graffiti. They were literally just claiming and stuff for their own, but they didn't build it, because there's like these perfectly shaped blocks. I mean, perfectly polished to a mirror-ish like shine, but then there'll be hieroglyphics scribed into them that have just crappy workmanship. And they know some of the kings and some of the pharaohs at the time would carve stuff on over top. They would carve their names into stuff. So you can see in places where like Khufu or somebody carved his name over top of another pharaohs. So, and you have all these people finding this stuff these days. It's just wild. Some of these videos are really interesting, because you have these YouTubers. They go on the grounds. All this stuff's all across the world. Yeah. There's pyramids in China. That they don't talk about. They're covered with dirt, like the government's covered them up with dirt. But there was people in the military, in the Air Force during the World War II that spotted them, and they're like these pyramid. They're pyramids. And there's sites with megalithic blocks that are unfathomably massive, and so big that they weren't dragging them across the ground. Dragging them with no matter how many slaves they had. They weren't. Not only could they drag them, they were. How do you lift them after you get them there? How do you put them in place? It's just
like Stonehenge and stuff too.
Well, not so much Stonehenge, but like in like Lebanon, there's a site there that's it's accredited to the Romans. What's the name? I'm sorry, I can't think of the name of it. But it's got these massive. Before we get off here, I'll show you a picture real quick. I'm sorry if you may, but I'll show you a picture real quick, and before we go, and next time we'll make sure we concentrate on movies a little bit, but.
Or where there's like a whole town or city carved into like that mountaintop or whatever too. Forget where that's at, like Peru or something like that.
Yeah, that's Oh, well, you talking? Yeah. Hang on a second. I can't think of the name of that. It's called Baalbek. I'm sorry, but there's clearly Roman ruins built on top of a pre-existing megalithic site.
Right.
Let me find the
Okay.
block, because the blocks underneath are, and that's how you find it throughout history. There's been other civilizations built on top of it, because you can tell there's a drastic difference between the megalithic blocks underneath than the what's built on top of it. Let me find it here. Let's see. Let me see if I can find that. Okay. Sorry, guys. Anytime I can show people this stuff that people don't know exists, I really enjoy this.
No, I'm into all kinds of different stuff.
This is one of them that was unfinished. It's still in the ground. I think this is about 1,000-ton block or something like that.
Yeah.
I'm trying to find the picture, but here's one of them placed. You can see the size of the person, but that's one
Yeah.
of them that's actually placed in the. I'll find one more. I'm trying to find the one. Oh yeah, here's that same block, but this is.
Not sure if I've seen this place before.
Yeah, this is Baalbek, Lebanon. But this is what the site looks like. It's here's like the megalithic blocks under here, but they came and built on top of it.
Okay.
Yeah. This is the theory. But yeah, I'm sorry if I'm boring anybody. But here's Göbekli Tepe that was supposedly, this is supposedly in the range of 12,000, 9 to 12,000 years ago. See the carvings on them?
Yeah.
And these sites are evidently everywhere, like because Karahan Tepe. These pictures are over. They actually have a dome over it now, protecting it while they're doing the research there. But this whole hill, Göbekli Tepe means Potbelly Hill. That's what it means. And they intentionally buried the site. It was intentionally buried, and nobody knows why.
Huh.
But these pillars and stuff, they all have, and a lot of this stuff, like see these, they call them handbags right here.
Yeah.
You can find those all over the world.
Huh.
Oh, but just to finish out the night, I had that question up. What was the opinion the worst sex scene in the movie? The worst I've ever seen I apologize. We got off on a tangent there. I had to show them. I've tried not to do that anymore, but you get a variety show here. The worst sex scene I think I seen, it was almost like a joke, was in the movie Mitchell, the Joe Don Baker movie.
Oh my gosh, that movie.
In the middle of like, is that It's Linda Evans in the movie.
Yeah, it was Linda Evans.
Joe Don Baker.
Yeah.
Mitchell.
But
Mitchell.
Well, the scene starts out with like when he was, I think it's where he offers her a beer. And it might be a different scene, I'm sorry. But there's one scene where he offers her a beer and it's like, do you want it in a glass? And then he spills it all over her, trying to give her a glass of beer. And then his gun, like there's a scene where it's like a little pullback shot and his gun like slides down his pants. It's like his dick's getting hard or something. But it's like his gun slides all the way down through his pants. And it's like this, but the sex scene's horrible. It's like, it's just them rolling around. But then in the middle of it, for no reason at all, he picks up the old thing of like a beers, like what's that called? The plastic where you pull them off with the tabs. What's that called?
Oh yeah, I don't. Yeah.
But he picks it up by there, and there's like 2 beers. But he picks it up with his feet in the middle of it. It's like, what in the hell is going on?
And when they did that on, I think it was on Riff Tracks. They focused in on there's a jar of baby oil on the table, and they were like, "Oh, baby oil." Just imagine Joe Don Baker with baby oil.
Yeah, that's the last episode on Mystery Science Theater with.
Oh, it was Mystery Science Theater. Yeah,
with Joel. It was his last episode.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, that's that. That is. Yeah, I actually have that. I have that Mystery Science Theater episode.
My favorite line from that is like, it's so random, and if you didn't watch football in the 80s, you wouldn't know. And he goes, "Hey, is that Al Noga?" That still just like makes me laugh because they're based in Minnesota and they're Vikings fans. Yeah. So it just, I watched that a couple of months ago and I just was roaring laughing. It's so bad. It's so bad.
For the worst scene, I'm just going to go with the most disturbing I have ever seen in my life. And that is, of course, I forget the name right when I'm about to say it. Okay, give me a second. Sorry.
Is that Johnny Mathis?
Oh yeah. Chances are. Yeah.
Is what?
From Mitchell.
It's from Mystery Science Theater. I'm sorry. It's hard. It's unless you know Mystery Science Theater episode like that, and that's one everybody knows because it's probably one of the funniest and it's probably one of the easiest to remember all this stuff. But and I think it's everybody knows it because it's Joel's last episode, so it was.
I've never watched any Mystery Science. I haven't even heard of it until here recently, when I think either through you guys or I might have picked up one from like Dollar Tree or something, but that's it.
Yeah, there's some newer episodes you can watch on Netflix that they had some new seasons. They're not too bad. I think the newest stuff that came out recently is better. They had a season that came out it's been about a year and a half ago now, but they were a little bit better than those first episodes. Because they actually, believe it or not, a lot of people are like, oh no, they're going to bring a girl on there and do that. And she was actually pretty funny. Because they have another female that does one of the robots' voices. Yeah. But you have a mix, between different crews, and Joel comes back and does an episode or two. It was pretty good.
Yeah, I saw Joel in live in person when he did his so-called retirement tour, because he's not retired.
Right.
At Rutgers, my son and I went to see the live performance of, and it was No Retreat, No Surrender.
Oh, that's
martial arts movie.
Was
I found the name.
Hilarious.
was
Sorry, Dead Girl.
Oh, Dead Girl.
Dead
yeah.
Girl.
Dead Girl from 2008.
Yep. That's
Now,
disturbing.
there are, in my opinion, that was the most disturbing movie with all the scenes and stuff that I have ever personally seen. I don't know why, because there are other scenes, like, again, in like Last House on the Left, I Spit on Your Grave, that are technically more brutal to a certain degree, but there was just something so undeniably just unhinged, just disturbing, and I don't know, fucked up about the dead girl in those scenes that it was horrible to watch.
Yeah, it was gross.
So that is the worst in my opinion. So just be warned, especially women, with that movie because of those scenes. So
And what was even more traumatizing about it was her eyes kept on moving the whole time.
they were what?
Her eyes were moving the whole time.
Exactly, that's what I mean.
Yeah, that when you
Yeah.
were raping her.
No, it's on a whole different level. Like I said, it's just I don't know why exactly, because it's not like she fights back, spoiler and everything, but she's conscious. She knows
I
what's going.
actually got a screener copy of that from I think MVD when they allowed me, because you have to have like this like big ass channel to review movies for MVD, you know.
Yeah.
But
No, I got mine off a Hamilton book because I mean honestly I like disturbing movies. I want to be shocked. I want to be, because it's not hardly any horror movies do that for me. I still love them though, but I want to feel something. And
I actually gave that away. I was like, I ain't never gonna watch that again.
Right. That's for me. That's like a one-time thing. Yeah.
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 There was another one that I got from them that I actually gave to Brian, the horror punk.
Mm-hmm.
It was something Broken Record, Black Record, where she was like a sex slave whenever this music played from this record. And it was like, okay, I watched it, and I said, here you go, do you want it? I had no time for that kind of stuff.
No, I got like this entire like 3-page, 4.5-page list of disturbing movies. They're from all over, everywhere. Certain people have said it. There's a list, couple of lists online, and some in my own opinion, I say. So I don't have very many of them, not yet, but I just got one from Brian on Whatnot, that Irreversible.
Oh, okay.
Got that for $1 or $2, actually $2 when he did his horror show. And Hamilton Book has the DVD and the Blu-ray for the same price, $21.95. So as soon as I saw that, I was like, oh my fucking God, I've been wanting that for my disturbing movie list. So finally got it for $2. I was so excited.
Yeah. Once you get on Whatnot, Dan, we'll tell you the couple places to go to, especially this Brian guy. It's just him and his wife. They're down in Florida, and they buy like new movies basically every week, and they sell them for $1.
Mm-hmm. Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
No, I was just going to say they have like I think tomorrow, Katie, they have a horror night.
Oh, okay.
And then Saturday they have. See, that doesn't like interest me. The other ones, I just want like basically like common titles. That's how I got Less Than Zero from them for $1. So
yeah, I got the Graduate and Police Story 1 and 2 Criterion. Graduate for $2 and the Police Story for $3.
Whoa.
Yeah.
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 I got that about 6 months ago. Police Story 1 and 2. Paid a little more than $3 for it.
Yeah, I was thinking of you because he even had like a lot of the other night he had a lot of Jackie Chan stuff on there that like
That's
nobody was basically grabbing.
Hmm.
I think he had Street
What?
Fighter. It was
I'm gonna have to get off here soon, but I was wanting to see what you, because I saw a post this week how Sony. I don't know if it's real or not. It looks like it might be, but how Sony is going to stop
Oh yeah,
making
stop selling.
Blu-rays.
I saw that on Instagram. It's supposedly the comments were saying that it's only the blank discs, the
Yeah.
DVD R and
Yeah.
Blu-ray R that you can record off of.
Okay.
I don't
It's
know if
just
that's true or not again, because I heard too that Sony's supposed to be taking over the physical media releasing for Disney.
okay.
That they're going to be
Yeah.
releasing all the stuff that Disney doesn't. They don't care. Disney doesn't care about physical media anymore, and fuck Disney anyways.
Yeah.
But Sony's supposed to be taking over all of that. So hopefully that is all that they're doing. Is they're just going to stop doing the blank discs. And that's what that means, because again, they're supposed to be taking
With
over all the releasing of Disney, which they're going to make a shit ton of money off of. So
the rewritable, the ones like I can buy and burn a disc. That's what you mean.
yeah, because I think there's other companies besides Sony who makes those discs, anyways, right? The
Panasonic.
Excel.
Yeah.
Panasonic and
Yeah, that's yeah.
Verbatim.
That's what it said under there, but a lot of the comments were saying
Isn't
that.
Verbatim Maxell though. I think Verbatim. I think it is Maxell. I think it's the same company.
I mean,
I'm
I
not
used
sure,
to use
though.
those all the time because I used to burn movies off my computer onto the blank discs and everything like that. But I haven't done that in like probably over 15 years. So, but
Yeah. Well, I just wanted to know, what do you guys think of the? Because if you go and listen to some people, they'll I like to talk about it, but if you listen to like Serial at Midnight, that guy, he'll berate you about talking about the end, if physical media dying or something like that. But what do you guys think what the ultimate future could bring with physical media?
I don't know if they're
what will be the death knell?
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, if they take away your people's ability to copy discs, to make their own discs.
Yeah.
There's websites you can go. You can get manufactured on demand, kung fu movies and everything. It's if they take that away and then they start to take away the physical media, then you're going to be stuck with what you have and whatever you have to play it. I don't know.
Yeah.
But I don't think that's going to happen. Like,
well, I think it seems like if it's just Sony who's getting out of it, it's just like how Best Buy stopped selling movies. This is just one company getting out of the burnt discs. So, I don't think it'll be the end, at least hopefully not, or whatever. Maybe Sony just wants to stop that part because they're going to be, now they're taking over the Disney part. And so, and there's a lot of people who are doing like the Star Wars shows on MOD and all that kind of stuff. So maybe they just want to take control of that. And that's why they want to stop making the burnable disc. I don't know. It's just, everybody, me included, of course, was freaking out when Best Buy said they were going to stop making physical media. And I was like, oh my God, are you kidding me? This is a huge blow for physical media. But really, fuck Best Buy, and it really hasn't done much damage. Walmart's kicking ass with these steel books and everything. And, it hasn't really hurt me much like I thought it was going to with Best Buy stopping. So, I mean, I don't know. That's my personal opinion.
Well, what's hurt the physical media? Sorry, Kenny.
Okay.
What's hurt the physical media with the Blu-ray is gaming's went away from. That's why Sony wants to move away from it, because they were making everything downloadable. All your games are downloadable now. You can even buy a PlayStation that don't even have a physical drive. On the PlayStation 5s, you could buy one. I think maybe in the 4s that you could buy either just a system with or without a Blu-ray drive on it or a 4K drive, whatever they run now. I think they just still run Blu-rays, but that would influence heavily what they're doing because the gaming industry is way bigger than the movie industry. Well,
Yeah,
yeah,
no, that's actually probably true, especially because
yeah.
the younger generation is more probably games than
On
movies.
Sony's end, but see the thing is like who can they might even be willing to sell their equipment for some other company to keep manufacturing. Who knows? Sony probably not because the Japanese are just kind of like that. They don't like to get rid of their technology. Like Nintendo, they're like notoriously bad about copyright and stuff like that. So it's yeah.
I don't know. I was just watching some guy's video who was talking about, because there are Sony TVs, there are Sony players, there's, Sony
Yeah.
has a foot or a hand, whatever, in almost everything that has to deal around movies. They make speakers, all that kind of stuff. And then with them doing this Disney deal, this is before I read that article about the burned discs and stuff, that
Well,
they're going to make a ton of money off of this
they
deal.
they essentially
Disney.
created the Blu-ray player, didn't they?
They're-
Sony's were the first Blu-ray player, at least, or they're the first. I don't know if they developed the technology, but they were the first company to manufacture Blu-ray players.
Oh, okay. I did not know that.
Yeah, they came out in the PlayStation 2 or 3. Came in the PlayStation 3.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, had a Blu-ray player, and that was the first place you could get a Blu-ray player. Yeah.
Okay. Well,
That's
I mean,
what that's what won the Blu-ray versus HD DVD war, was that they released it in the PlayStation.
okay.
Yeah.
Well, I don't know. Just everything's just, I don't know. I mean, I really don't know. I personally don't use them, so I just didn't think about all the ramifications of everything else. But I mean, yeah, it could.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Sorry, I talked
Yeah.
over you a minute ago, Kenny.
Oh no, that's fine. I was just going to say I don't know anybody that goes to Best Buy anymore. Seriously, I mean, since the DVD, hunts and stuff like that, everybody was going for the movies and stuff.
Yeah.
And even electronics, everybody's going to Amazon or Walmart.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I won't go to Best Buy. I'll go to Walmart for my players. I will not go to Best Buy no more.
I mean, because when I moved back here, I had to buy a new TV. I went to Walmart. I didn't go to Best Buy,
Yeah.
and I got a better deal at Walmart than I would at Best Buy. And usually at Best Buy, it's like, even with the videos and stuff there, if they're not selling cell phones, it's like, you can see tumbleweeds going through there because there's no workers in there anymore,
Well, the last, I think it was last year. I think it was last year or the year before. My grandmother's house, it got struck by lightning and it ruined both of her TVs. So we had to replace her TV. So me and my dad went. I think we went to Best Buy first, and whatever we kept looking at, they didn't either have it or something. They didn't have it in stock, or you had to wait. So we ended up going to like Sam's Club. I think Sam's Club ended up buying both of them because they had them right there on the floor. You can just get it and go, and like they're just aggravating. Every time you go in there to buy something like that, this is probably 10 years ago, an old high school friend of mine. He was talking about how he went over there to buy TV, and he looked on his phone and it said it's in stock, and he got over there. They said, well, we don't have this TV. And he said, here, he showed him his phone and said, here it shows that it's in stock. And they went back there and found it. And it's like, but they also claim that they took a lot of their employees out the last several years. They lost a lot of employees. They fired a bunch of them. And so they're running like skeleton crews in there now, pretty much.
Yeah, I know. Before I moved, we had to buy a freezer, and I went to Best Buy because there was a couple places that we looked at, Sears Outlet that was in Echelon, and a couple other ones, and we went there, and that was like basically the only place that we could go, and they were like friggin' sharks, because everything's commissioned now at Best Buy, where it wasn't before.
Sorry to interrupt you, Kenny, but okay, I was at 15 and now I'm already down at 9% now on my phone, so I gotta go, guys.
Okay.
We're about finished anyway, so good to see you this week.
Okay, yeah, no, great to see you. Great to see you, Dan. Bye, Kenny.
Bye,
John.
I'll talk to you later.
See you guys later.
Okay.
Yeah.
Bye, guys.
Bye. See you later. Yeah,
well, fellas, I'm about to the end too, because I've got to go take medicine.
Yeah, that's why I had to come upstairs. And put a fan on me.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm sorry. I got off on that one tangent about that stuff I got talking about. It's just some of that stuff's kind of fascinating.
It's all good.
We got off movie, so hopefully you can come back I don't know if were you kind of, Dan, were you kind of wanting to, if you want to, you can do it every week with us.
Yeah, that'd be great.
When you're available to do it, if you're not available, because that's how it is with all of our people. We have more people than this, but they come in and out.
Yeah. For July and August, my daughter is actually down at her house in Maryland.
Yeah.
That's where my wife is now. So sometimes she needs help with the granddaughters. It's kind of it's kind of like week by week. It's like a week by week deal. So
that's no problem. That's how it is.
Yeah.
With
So like if I'm around, sure, I'll jump on. Yep.
Yeah.
And Jody's on here with me now too. So he wasn't able to come. He's going on a trip this weekend. He had to get his family ready. He's got like 20 kids too. So
yeah.
No, I'm joking. I think he's got like 3 or 4, but
yeah,
that's a job and a half. I'm sure. I don't have any kids, but I'm sure that's a job. But yeah, I guess appreciate everybody showing up and leaving your comments this week. We appreciate it as always, and I think we mostly had Sydney leaving comments. We've had a few people in there. We appreciate you guys. I always like Sydney because she gives us good questions, so it keeps a lot of times it'll take us in a different direction than we may have been going in. So,
Dan, do you have a video tomorrow?
Yeah, tomorrow, Physical Media Friday.
Physical Media Friday. Yep.
It's a short one.
Okay.
I'm having problems with memory and uploading, so it's like less than 5 minutes, I think.
Okay.
And then I think I got another. I got another video coming out Sunday. I think it's the.
Thanks, Sydney.
It's a Mexican horror movie. It's the second part, so I got a double feature. So
yeah. All your I swear, if you go to your channel, because I always write. I keep a notebook right beside me. Let me see if I can find it. And I write. Here you go.
Yeah.
And I write all recommendations down that you.
That's
give.
Awesome. Yeah.
So
that was a disappointing movie. Be Kind, Rewind. I thought it was going to be really funny, and it's just kind of a letdown.
Yeah, it was.
Especially with Jack Black and
Most Def.
Most Def, yeah. And it was just kind of a bummer movie. Sorry.
No, I was just saying. Usually with Dan, there's a guy I watch, Stuart, and Stuart's great. Neil comes up with like some movies I've never even heard of before, and basically, and usually because like I said, I'm new to like the horror stuff. So if Kate, like I wrote down a whole bunch of stuff Katie got from her, Whatnot Excursion, and usually Brian the Horror Punk, he has like a lot of, I'll say, eclectic stuff that I've never even heard of, Same with Bryce. So yeah, I love the recommendations. I think the community is good, for the
I think that's kind of why I don't watch, like, Mike, Mike will be back on here eventually, and he's a good friend of mine, but I don't like watching his videos because I want to spend money when I watch his. That's part of why I don't watch physical media channels, is because I'll spend 40 or 50 bucks.
That's why I go and check it if it's on Tubi or YouTube or something like that. And like I don't buy all the new movies that are coming out. you know. So it's like the stuff that I spend, like I'll spend $10 here, $10 there, you know.
Yeah.
So
No,
it's
I,
like,
I understand. Yeah. But
yeah,
it's but I'll get doing that. They'll get talking about movies, so I have to go find it if it's something interesting. And
Yeah, he got me really into film noir, and I bought a
Yeah.
couple compilations, and then I realized, like, since the quality on some of those compilations is good, you can go to Tubi.
Or like
YouTube.
that one that I showed you, the guy has a. I'll send you the link too, John. He has sort of like a Svengoolie kind of thing going, where he's just sitting there and he's like, and he introduces the movie, and then he comes back like halfway and like talks about it. He plays like a Sam Spade, Mickey Spillane kind of guy and stuff like that. Because at first, Dan, I thought it was you. Because he's sitting there and he likes up to say, because it was I'll send, if I didn't send it to you, I'll send it to you, because I was like, is that Mr. Dan? Because he has like he's like in an office and stuff, sort of like the film noir, the old Sam Spade stuff like that, putting a cigarette and drinking whatever, bourbon or something. He's sitting there, he's like, let's get back to the movie, like that. And it's like, oh, okay, this is kind of cool. But it was an Edward G. Robinson movie, Vice Squad.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, and that was one that I think Stewart had, like, and then I go on the eBay, and then it's like $18. It's like, no, dude, I'll just watch it on the YouTube. That's why I write all of them down and say Tubi, YouTube, Pluto.
Right.
Especially
some of those older ones, like an hour and 15 minutes.
Yeah.
It's like, oh, I'm going to spend $30 on that by itself. If it's on a compilation, maybe. But
exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah, especially like a lot of those Kino film noir, especially when you go on when they drop on Hamilton Book. It's like, okay, $29.99. Then when you like look it up, it's like, oh, okay, it's an hour and 15 minutes on the YouTube. I think I can do this,
right?
And I'm not spending $30.
Yeah. Well, I have all those Kino sets, but most of those are actually movies. They're not like little. And they're good quality too. They did a good job restoring those. So they're those movies usually have a little bit of a meaning behind them, or they theme each set a little bit. They're slightly themed. I think one set has like Tony Curtis film noir movies and stuff like that. I think they do that.
Yeah,
but I can't keep up with them because there's like I have like 15 or 16 of them. I think 15, but now I look. The other day I seen set 19 came out. It's only been a few months since I bought it. I'm like, Jesus Christ.
Yeah, because I went down a rabbit hole.
And I'm not a completionist usually, but geez, I like some things I like doing. Keep buying them.
Right.
They're not expensive, like $30 for 3 Blu-rays, so they're not really that bad. It's
right.
$10 a piece, but it gets expensive if you have to catch up with 4 or 5 sets, and I don't like to do that, Well, everybody, I appreciate you guys stopping by, Mr. Dan, Kenny, as always, and look forward to we'll hit you up every week, and if you can, you can, and if you can't, you can't. It's no problem.
Okay. All right. Yeah.
And I enjoy your film knowledge. That's what I always say. I like to bring on people that are better than me at this, and everybody's somebody will say something, a memory will pop up, and I'll remember something. I appreciate it. Yeah, and Kenny's the same way. Kenny knows more than me, and that's the kind of guys people like to associate with. That brings something different to the table, and I enjoy having a conversation each week. So we appreciate everybody stopping by, and appreciate you guys stopping by, and we'll see you next week.
All right.
See you guys.
Bye-bye.
Yeah.
Later.